the best place to work.
I love working here.
I feel very blessed.
I love it here.
I look forward to coming to work every day, being a part of this team.
Like a family away from home.
Where everyone feels like everybody knows their name.
A city that supports you. We see that with our benefits.
A pension, vacation days, job security.
Being able to be heard.
We feel valued. We feel respected.
Lee Summit is a very progressive city.
It's growing, it's thriving.
We have this drive towards not just doing a job, but doing it with a spirit of excellence. I had the opportunity to continue to grow, regardless of 30 plus years doing this kind of work.
It's more than just dollars and cents.
We're here really to give back.
Providing a service to better a community.
To go out and serve people.
To be a part of something bigger than yourself. If I would have known what I know now, years ago, I would have been here much sooner.
Hello, Lee Summit. I'm Jordan. Here's your flash briefing for the week of February 23rd. Are you trained in hands-only CPR? The Lee Summit Fire Department has launched Pulse Point Respond, a free 911 connected mobile app that alerts citizens trained in hands-only CPR when CPR is needed nearby in a public location. CPR can be started in the critical minutes before emergency services arrive. Learn more at cityofls.net/pulsepoint. Interested in tickets to the Lee Summit Parks and Recreation February Father-Daughter Dances? There are still spots available for this Friday, February 27th. Don't wait to register. Get your tickets at lsparks.net. City Council will meet for a regular session Tuesday night at 6 in Council Chambers in City Hall. Meetings are open to the public or watch live on the city's YouTube channel. If you can't watch, catch the recorded meeting on demand on the YouTube channel or by subscribing to the Council Debrief newsletter, which breaks down 3 to 4 key agenda items. Subscribe at cityofls.net. And the city has a variety of ways for citizens to stay up to date on what's going on around Lee Summit, including newsletters, social media, and the weekly flash briefing. Receive information involving road closures, city events, council meetings, and more. Catch the update on all of our social platforms. Stay informed. Thanks for listening, and have a great week.
Keeping 500 miles of public sewer lines flowing keeps utility costs low and our environment healthy. The Lee Summit Water Utilities Operations Team does this every day. Sewer lines can be blocked with everything from roots to flushable wipes to food grease. When a potential blockage is identified, teams use detailed mapping to locate access points.
My camera's at 18038.
A camera truck parks at one end of the sewer line and a jet truck at the other. The camera truck carries a rover-type camera, which the team lowers into the manhole. The operator then drives the camera into the pipe, where it views and records from its adjustable lens. Here, it can identify the cause and precise location of the blockage. The jet truck will then use high-pressure water to remove the blockage. Starting at the opposite end of the line, the operator inserts the jet head into the manhole. Pressurized water shoots out of the head, clearing out debris and propelling it forward. The camera observes this process, and the two operators communicate via walkie-talkie to coordinate movement.
Hold it right there. Go ahead and fire it up, half pressure. I'm in front of you.
Once the jet head has passed the blockage, the operator reels it back in. The camera can then inspect the pipe to see if the blockage is cleared.
Yeah, go ahead and pull out. We're done.
With the job complete, the camera is removed, cleaned, and returned to the truck, and the crew moves on to the next job. In addition to addressing identified problems, the team will systematically check every line in the city in a 5-year period, keeping costs low and our community healthy, today and for years to come.
Welcome to the Lee Summit Sign Department. We are going to walk you through our process from start to finish. We make signs as needed here. It's not like we just go out into the field and place a speed limit sign here, no parking here. Our traffic engineers, they go through and they'll do field studies. They'll send us down an engineering work order for us to go out, place new signs or remove signs as needed. Coming from the material, our blanks come in and they're just aluminum blanks. We can put our white our red, our our fluorescent yellow, green, whatever. And basically what it looks like is just that there. Throw it up into the roller. And once we got it covered, take it to our work table here, and Tim will cut the corners, cut all the access off to where it's lined up right. As far as the plotter and the software that we use, there's a street name sign there, and he's gonna go ahead and print that out on the plotter so you can see the plotter and how it operates and runs. There's standards for the height, even just on letters on the sign blank. Basically what we have on the computer there is it's pretty much set up to those, and it goes through. It's got a very small but sharp needle that goes through and cuts everything out letter by letter. Once that's done cutting, our next stage would be bringing it over here. Currently picking out the sign letters right now. We call it weeding or picking, or however you want to call it. Next, putting it on the transfer tape. Then after it's taped, we bring it over to the roller. That's where we apply it to the actual sign blank. And we'll roll it through one time just to get the air bubbles out. And the last stage is basically just taking the transfer tape off the front of it. And there's a finished product of the street name sign. We'll take you out to the field and show you our process that we go through. We're gonna go out and follow our sign guys, get something installed for you. This is where we check our underground utilities. Tim, you got AT&T?
AT&T's back here.
Evergy, Google, so we should be good to go. We normally put all of our stuff together out in the field. Then once the base is installed, we'll go ahead and put the post in there. These come up too. Perfect. And that's how we do it. Simple, quick.
Councilmember Hodges.
Thank you. I love where you guys are coming from. You're local and you're all kind of coming together. But where I'm struggling with from the last time that we talked about this, I think it was maybe October. I actually grew up in my district. We moved here my sophomore year in high school. My parents still live in the same house, and I just went through high school here and then have stayed in Lee Summit ever since. The neighborhood that my parents live in is Canterbury. My favorite thing, and I still do to this day, is I love to go running. They have the best sidewalks. I feel like you can go for days. So now I still get to do that. Since I live not too far from them, I get to use those same routes that I took during high school, and it's just fun. All right, let's see it, Jess. Come on. We're a big soccer family. I love sports, I love to watch sports, and it's even more fun to watch sports when my kids are in it. I coach my middle daughter Josie's team. I have since kindergarten. We do the basketball, we do softball, we're gonna do volleyball. It's just so much fun. Something that I would like to accomplish while on city council is to get more family activities here. You know, I don't want to have to be driving my family to, say, the Kansas side or any other city but my own. And I want to be able to invest in our city and make family memories in our city.
Open the public hearing on the matter of K1 Speed, Diventures,
Crack Shack, Blue Jeans Golf.
Councilmember Hodges.
I just want to say thank you for bringing us to Lee Summit. I grew up at this. My grandpa would take us there, so I'm excited that now I have to take my kids there. Bill number 23-0 pre-construction services for the downtown Market Plaza project.
I'm just as excited as everybody else about the downtown marketplace. I'm extremely excited about the community that it's going to bring, bringing more family things to do to the city and right in the heart of it.
When you presented the numbers, the first time you came to us, it was 25.5%, and then
people were like, oh, being on council, it's not a lot of work, I think it was a bit of a surprise when there's so much info that you realize you just don't know. Even something as simple as sidewalks. It's like you don't realize how much goes into something like that. After a couple months, I'm like, okay, I'm finally, catching the groove of how things work, learning new things, but also feel like I've got some things under my belt as well. It's been a great experience so far.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Planning Commission meeting for Thursday, February 26, 2026. Can I get a roll call attendance, please?
Ed Yarrington.
Here.
Sherry Frazier.
Here.
Terry Trafton. Dana Arth.
Present.
Jessica Greneau.
Present.
Tanya Jana Ford.
Present.
Chip Tazinski.
Present.
Randy Benbrook.
Present.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Madam Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Can we get a roll call vote on that, please?
Ed Yarrington.
Yes.
Sherry Frazier.
Yes.
Dana Arth.
Yes.
Jessica Greneau.
Yes.
Tanya Jana Ford.
Yes.
Chip Tazinski.
Yes.
Randy Benbrook.
Yes.
Thank you. Do we have any public comments tonight related to the Planning Commission business in general, not related to any applications here? Looks like we have none. So we will go on to the approval of the action letter. Can I get a motion for that?
Madam Chairman, I'd like to approve vote for approval of the action letter.
Second.
Can we get a roll call vote?
Ed Yarrington.
Yes.
Sherry Frazier.
Yes.
Dana Arth.
Yes.
Jessica Greneau.
Yes.
Tanya Jana Ford.
Yes.
Chip Tazinski.
Yes.
Randy Benbrook.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. We will move on to the public hearings. I will now close the regular meeting and open the public hearing in the matter of application PL 2026-038, Comprehensive Plan Amendment, Thoroughfare Master Plan, City of Lee Summit applicant. Would all those interested in speaking to this matter please stand up and be sworn in by staff?
I promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Thank you.
And Madam Chairman, at this time, I'd like to recuse myself from this item.
Okay, thank you. All right, the applicant has a presentation. If you'd state your name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, John Persing, 220 Southeast Green Street, Lee Summit, Missouri. Ready? All right, good evening. John Persing, Staff Engineer with Public Works. Please enter into the record Exhibit A, list of exhibits 1 through 8.
Please enter Exhibit A 1 through 8 to the record.
All right, well, thank you for this opportunity this evening to come and talk to you about our comp plan amendment. Specifically, this will be an amendment to the Thoroughfare Master Plan. A little background about what we're doing and why we're doing it here. So going back to 1996 was the last time we had a look at the thoroughfares in this area in the southwest corner of town in Scherer. So a lot's changed since 1996 especially with the PRI land coming on board. So Public Works now has a few projects in the area near Scherer to redo Scherer Road from 291 out to Sampson in 2 phases, as well as Longview Boulevard north of Scherer. So in order to move forward with those projects, it became necessary to do an alignment study and really get an understanding for how the thoroughfares will look in the area before we proceed with those projects. So I'll just kind of jump right into it here. So we put out an RFQ and ended up hiring Lockmuller to do this alignment study. And, you know, there's a lot that goes into these lines on the map, that's for sure. You know, we're looking at things, the topography, the drainage, environmental concerns, as well as engaging stakeholders. So there was lots of talk with PRI, the school district, as well as public meetings to gather input and try to come up with some solutions that work for everybody. So I'd like to take the next couple minutes and just kind of go through this image here and show you what you're looking at. Let's see if I can get my laser pointer. Yeah. So As I said, there's a couple capital improvement projects in the 5-year CIP, and this black line here, that shows pretty much the existing Scherer Parkway or Scherer Road. And as I move through this presentation, I want to make a distinction between Scherer Parkway and Scherer Road. So Scherer Parkway will be the 4-lane arterial road that, out here past Sampson, it's already 4 lanes and then it drops. So we'll continue that 4-lane cross section through here, and the black will be the Public Works performed taxpayer, project. And then once it peels off here, this green, this will continue that 4-lane section down here through to Hook Road, where there'll be a future interchange with 291. So, as I said, you can see here's, so we have under design phase 1 of Scherer Road, which will be from Ward out here to Jefferson, and then in the future we'll come out and connect all the way out past Sampson. So I guess I'll just kind of walk you through some of the decisions we made here and how we got to this point with these alignments. Starting down here at Hook Road, back when 291 was constructed, all this land was set aside for the interchange. So that's really kind of nails us in and is a good starting point for us. As we move to the west, you'll see this Rock Island Activity Center is denoted here, and that's slated to be a big commercial development. That's currently PRI land. I'll also note that PRI land on this image, it's kind of hard to see, but this white outline, you can see everything that PRI owns. You'll notice a couple little islands here of other private-owned lots, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But so as we come off this Hook Road interchange, we didn't want to, go right through the Rock Island Activity Center, so we come up here along the west side to give access to it and try to leave good lots, and we worked with the PRI representatives, and they were all on board with this. So as we move to the west, we have this privately owned lot here that's not PRI. We had to kind of make a decision which way to go on that. So we ended up going south. This bisects Scherer Road and Hook Road, kind of puts that intersection right there in the middle and still leaves some decent room between the Lee Summit West High School there. And then as we head north, we're really just trying to get in between these other private-owned lots and stay out of this. You'll see the electric utility here is this red line, and we're minimizing storm crossings, expensive bridges, culverts, things like that. So that was a lot of thought. And then once we get here, now we're back into the existing right-of-way, and we'll utilize that as we go out that way. We also needed to line up Longview Boulevard, so we knew where this intersection was going to hit. We had conversations with the school district. So this is where they have a planned school, and that really drive that, coupled with the Park West property here, if you're familiar. Parks and Rec has a master plan for that. I just wanted to show it to you real quick. So here's the master plan for that Park West property. You'll notice here the designated area for that Longview Boulevard there. So yeah, that's really what drove the alignment here on Longview, is getting around that school property and accommodating the Park West property. And then down here, there's currently platted right-of-way with this Monarch View subdivision to tie in that Longview Parkway. So let's see. I guess we can talk about some of the cross sections that we're looking at for this. So. For the Scherer Parkway part, which is the 4-lane section that will connect on the west and run all the way down to that Hook interchange, we're looking at a 4-lane cross section with a grass median, as well as pedestrian facilities and I guess multimodal facilities with bike trail and sidewalk on either side, plus utility corridors so we can keep utilities out of the road and not inconvenience the public when maintenance is necessary. For the Longview Boulevard section, we're still looking at a 4-lane cross-section, grass median, with a shared use on one side and a sidewalk on the other. And then for the Scherer Road section, which, to refresh your memory, is this section through here, we're looking at a 3-lane section with a shared use path and a trail, or shared use path and a sidewalk on either side. Let's see here. So here's our current thoroughfare master plan. Just kind of blew it up here in this area so you can really see what we're looking at. And I show you this, so this next slide hopefully doesn't look like quite a mess. This is that thoroughfare master plan with our proposed amendment overlaid to it. So here you can see the Parkway, how it plays with the current thoroughfare master plan. And then here on Longview, you know, there's a slight deviation here to accommodate that Park West property. Let's see. So yeah, that's really what I got for you. So this, and like I said, this amendment here will really be a stopgap until Public Works can come back in the next year or two. We plan to revise the entire thoroughfare master plan, and so this will give developers something to develop against, you know, so they know what to expect as far as right-of-way and alignments of our future roads, as well as line up our capital improvement projects coming in the future. So with that, I'd welcome any questions.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have a presentation? Oh, you don't? Okay. So do we have any questions for staff or applicant? I'll start down here. I mean, they're all one and the same.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I'm assuming none of this is scheduled yet. This is just kind of getting a plan out there, as you said, for developers to kind of respond to.
Yeah, so these roadways shown in black, these are in the 5-year CIP plan. And then this dotted section through south of Scherer on Longview, as well as this green section, that'll be development driven and TBD in the future.
Okay. With this new intersection for Hook, are we closing off the old one? The old exit? It looks like you got a couple off-ramps or on-ramps cutting right through it.
Yeah, we would.
Okay. I think that's all I have. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Commissioner Jana Ford?
No questions from me, Chair. Thank you.
Commissioner Frazier?
Okay. I say this is my backyard. Just a couple of clarifying questions. So where the dotted line for Longview Boulevard that runs parallel to Sampson there, so that's going to be, and I think on the next slide, there's a little bit of deviation, it showed, there you go. So it's got, the green is the original or the current, and then the dotted gray or black here is the proposed. Or
Correct.
Okay,
yeah. Great.
And did I understand you correctly, and you said that Sampson Road will become 4-lane?
Sorry if I said that, I misspoke.
No,
Sampson Road is not really part of this. Longview Boulevard will become the 4-lane section through there, yeah.
And, excuse me, the other question I have is, you said you had discussions with the school. Does the size of the circle indicate whether it's a high school or elementary?
No, they provided this bubble map, and that was about as much detail, I think, as they were willing to share publicly.
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Perfect. I think that's all. I think the other questions have already been answered, but thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Yerington?
Staff, is this the reason we are here today for this recommendation is because it's just an adjustment to the comp plan? Is that right? Amendment to the comp plan?
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So specifically the thoroughfare master plan.
Right, okay. So it's just amendment. Okay, thank you.
I just have a question. What determines when you decide to do this? Is there a certain trigger or something like that?
I'm assuming when you say do this, are you talking about the
Well,
capital improvement projects that the city's going to perform?
No, well, when you start mapping it out to show future developers what the roads might look like
John, I can answer that one for you.
in advance of the funding.
So we know that PRI is coming online, so we want to control that growth and have the ability to kind of guide the development and how that's going to look in the future. So we know we're going to grow in that area. We're going to know we had new infrastructure demands in that area. So to get ahead of that, this is when we kind of say, hey, we need to update what we have. So the current Thoroughfare master plan is a little older document. So now we're kind of taking a look at it. This area is coming online. What adjustments do we need to make that? So that's what kind of triggers this.
Okay, so we might see more of these with the additional
Potentially, yes.
PRI. Okay, I'm just wondering. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in support or opposition to this application? Please come to the microphone and state your name and address for the record.
Debbie Giddings, I have a question because I've studied this about Stewart Road. What happens to it? Because it looks like this runs parallel to Stewart Road.
Can you answer that, Shannon? Or
Right here. It's Stewart Road.
Here?
Mm-hmm. Doesn't it?
Stay unchanged as a collective.
So does Stewart Road just dead end then?
So Stewart Road will remain unchanged to the classification, and then once a road is fully designed out and implemented in that area, the Stewart Road will be redesigned to connect up to it to make sure that thoroughfare and traffic flow can flow and according to the needs of the area.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any more questions from the commission? And I'm assuming the applicant has already responded to any questions, so you don't have any more responses. So hearing no further testimony, I will close the public hearing and reopen the regular meeting. I'm assuming no discussion from the commission, so I would, sure.
I just wanted to say thank you for your anticipation of routing and staying away from existing neighborhoods, so we don't have that to deal with in Planning Commission for the next 3 years. Thank you.
All right, I will entertain a motion, Mr. Yarrington.
Yes, I move to approve application number PL 2026-038, comprehensive plan amendment, Thoroughfare Master Plan, City of Lee Summit applicant.
Second.
Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Ed Yarrington,
Yes.
Sherry Frazier,
Yes.
Dana Arth,
Yes.
Jessica Gruneau,
Yes.
Tanya Jonna Ford,
Yes.
Randy Benbrook.
Yes.
All right, we'll move on to the next one. I will close the regular meeting and open the public hearing in the matter of application PL 2026-039, comprehensive plan amendment, future land use map update, City of Lee Summit applicant.
Chair?
Yes.
We will do, since this is a comp plan amendment, we will need to take action on item A1. And Commissioner Tysinski will also need to recuse himself from that item as well.
Okay. He has to go back out there now. And so is there a presentation on this one?
No presentation.
Okay.
This is just where you would, this is the resolution adopting the amendment that you guys just heard.
Okay. So do we have any questions from the commission on this? I'm assuming not. And does anyone want to speak in support or opposition of this one? And you don't care to respond, so we'll just move on to closing the public hearing and reopening the regular meeting. No discussion on the application, so I would entertain a motion on this.
Okay. All right. We good? Okay, I move to approve Resolution 2026-02, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Lee Summit amending the comprehensive plan future land use map.
So that is the wrong item.
It's the one prior to
We
that.
need items A1, Resolution 2026-01.
You want me to do it?
Where is it, this one?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, I'll do that one too.
That's it.
I got it. Okay. This one. So, this one right here? Mhm. I move to approve Resolution 2026-01, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Lee Summit adopting the Scherer Road, Scherer Parkway, and Longview Boulevard alignment analysis as a revision to the Lee Summit Thoroughfare Master Plan as presented.
Second.
Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Ed Yerington,
Yes.
Sherry Frazier,
Yes.
Dana Arth,
Yes.
Jessica Greneau,
Yes.
Tanya John Ford,
Yes.
Randy Benbrook.
Yes.
Right, thank you. So now we're going on to, because it feels like we did A1 already, and then we did it again, so I'm a little confused on that.
So now we're going on to item B.
Okay, so we did read that.
Which
Okay.
is the one I just did. Okay. So
Okay, so go ahead and read.
I'll do it again.
Well, okay, wait a minute. I have to close the regular meeting and open the public hearing in the matter of application PL 2026-039 Comprehensive Plan Amendment, Future Land Use Map Update, City of Lee Summit applicant. And do we have a presentation on that? Oh, we have to, okay. This is confusing because we don't normally do approvals. Can- Thank you. And I guess Mr. McGuire has his presentation.
All right, good evening, Shannon McGuire, Planning Manager. Please enter into the record Exhibit A, list of exhibits 1 through 7.
Sorry. What were the exhibits again?
Exhibits A, list of exhibits 1 through 7.
Exhibits A, 1 through 7, noted and entered into the record.
All right, so the City of Lee Summit is coming before you today to propose an amendment to the 2021 Ignite Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map to approve some updates to that map for 2 projects that have previously been approved by City Council. Those 2 projects are going to be Oldham Village there at 291 and 50, as well as Ovation, kind of just east of 291 on 150. The purpose of today's application is to align the adopted future land use plan with those projects that have already received approval. So if you remember back in January of '25, the City Council approved PDP for Oldham Village. So the existing future land use shows that as a commercial future land use. With that particular project, there's a lot of kind of a mix of uses there, so we're recommending to update that future land use map to reflect a mixed-use land use category. Back in February, shortly after that, the council approved the PDP and rezoning for Ovation. If you remember that, they're just kind of on the east side of 291 on the south of 150. The existing comprehensive plan shows that as a residential category 1. So the northern portion of that property is a mix of duplexes with a conceptual apartments and conceptual commercial there. So what we're recommending is to realign the future land use map to match those uses of a residential category 2, which is our medium density land use for residential, as well as that mixed use, since we have kind of a mix of uses between commercial and residential there as well. So just to kind of remind you what that future land use map is, it geographically displays development types and desired intensities throughout the community. So it kind of shapes kind of what we want to see and where we want to see that. So this application is to realign this map so it is accurate and reflects what has currently been approved and the actual land uses that we have out there today. So with that, this subject does meet the requirements of the UDO and the Ignite Comprehensive Plan, and staff does recommend adopting that future land use amendments as I have presented today, and I can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for the staff or applicant, being one and the same? Commissioner Yerington? Anyone else have any questions down here? Okay. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in support or opposition of the application? I see none. So hearing no further testimony, I will close the public hearing and reopen the regular meeting. Are there any commission discussions for this application? All right. I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve application PL 2026-039, Comprehensive Plan Amendment, Future Land Use Map Update, City of Lee Summit applicant.
Second.
Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Ed Yerington,
Yes.
Sherry Frazier,
Yes.
Dana Arth,
Yes.
Jessica Greneau,
Yes.
Tanya Jana Ford,
Yes.
Chip Tazinski,
Yes.
Randy Benbrook.
Yes.
Thank you. So with this resolution, we go ahead and reopen the regular meeting and go through that process again?
Yeah, it's
okay?
a regular meeting. It's not a public hearing, so you'll just take action on that and.
Oh, so just.
Yep.
We can go ahead and skip to the reading of the motion then? Okay. Can I get a motion on that one, please?
I move to approve Resolution 2026-02, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Lee Summit amending the Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Map.
Second.
Can we get a roll call vote?
Ed Yerington,
Yes.
Sherry Frazier,
Yes.
Dana Arth,
Yes.
Jessica Greneau,
Yes.
Tanya Jana Ford,
Yes.
Chip Tazinski,
Yes.
Randy Benbrook.
Yes.
All right, thank you. We will move on, and I will close the regular meeting and open the public meeting in the matter of application PL 2024-281, rezoning from RP4 to PO and preliminary development plan. Moehle Acres Office Building, 414 Southeast 3rd Street, Rhoades Real Estate LLC applicant.
Chair, I just want to make sure that you meant to open the public hearing and not the public meeting.
Oh, I said it wrong, didn't I? Yes, that's what I do mean. Should I re-say it?
Sure.
Okay. We are closing the regular meeting and opening the public hearing in the matter of application PL 2024-281, rezoning from RP4 to PO and preliminary development plan, Moehle Acres Office Building, 414 Southeast 3rd Street, Rhoades Real Estate LLC applicant. For all of you that plan to speak on behalf of this application, if you would stand up at this time and be sworn in.
I promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Thank you. Does the applicant have a presentation? Okay. If you would come to the microphone and give your name and address for the record, please.
Correct, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Planning Commission. Jeff Rhoades, Rhoades Real Estate owner. Currently live at 4280 Woody Creek, Fort Collins, Colorado. Here today to present, thank you for allowing me to stand before you in the Planning Commission. Currently, I am the owner of an existing adjacent property to the property that we're putting before you today. That property is located at 410 Southeast 3rd Street, also known as Lee's Landing Professional Center. And what I'm putting before you today and what our application was for, there was an adjacent property that was purchased, known here as 414 as part of our application, that we are looking to rezone, as you mentioned, out of essentially planned apartments and into commercial office space. The existing buildings that are there are going to be completely duplicated, identified exactly the same materials, same roof, same structures as the two buildings that are existing at 3rd Street. So we're just looking to enhance those by adding additional property. We're going to beautify the space by following the city's guidelines as far as landscaping and buffer zones. We already have existing parking to satisfy this additional building, so we won't be adding additional parking spaces on the lot itself. Currently, we have an excess of parking spots on the 410 Southeast 3rd Street, but we are also going to be adding a few additional parking spots. I believe it was 4, but we've came slightly short of the 4 due to the property boundaries. But it was through conversation with the Planning Commission that they felt that the parking that we were supplying and the parking that was going to be on site was going to be ample space enough to be able to satisfy the new building. The size of the building, 2,500 square feet. It has not been marketed, it has not been leased, it has not been pre-leased. But of course, it's meant to house some type of commercial office aspect, being insurance, dental. I'm pretty strict on my property and as far as managing, and I do manage it myself. You may say, why am I here from Colorado? I went to school at Central Missouri State, so I'm from the area originally, went to school here. So manage the property myself, but we try to maintain a high level of clientele. There's some people I just will not allow, and we feel that the property that we have here brings value to the downtown area as far as professionalism goes as well. So I would open up for any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you. We'll probably get to some questions after we get another presentation from staff.
Okay. Adair Bright, Senior Planner. I'd like to enter into the record Exhibit A, list of Exhibits 1 through 16.
Exhibit A, 1 through 16, noted and entered into the record.
As mentioned, the applicant is requesting approval of a rezoning from RP4, which is our Planned Apartment Residential District, to PO, which is Planned Office, and a PDP for development of an office building at 414 Southeast 3rd Street. There is one modification being requested, and staff analysis will be provided later within the presentation. The existing zoning is RP4, which was approved in 2005 as part of a city-initiated rezoning. The property to the north contains the Charles Apartments. The property to the south across Southeast 3rd Street contains single-family residential. To the west are multi-tenant office buildings, and to the east, across the Charles Apartment access drive, are more single-family residential despite their zoning district. The proposed land use is compatible with the existing office development, and the intensity aligns with the surrounding uses since it is kind of a mismatch of different kinds of uses. The future land use map designates the subject property as being within the downtown activity center. The activity center is proposed to include a range of commercial, industrial, and residential options, and the center is intended to develop as walkable mixed-use nodes. The proposed development supports the resilient economy focus area by growing business activity within the downtown area. The proposed building will be 2,500 square feet, and the property will be required to replat and combine with the lot to the west so that all PO district requirements are met as far as lot area. The applicant is proposing to add 4 additional parking stalls to the existing parking lot of the office development for a grand total of 81 stalls. A neighborhood meeting was held on December 11th, and the applicant had reported that 1 member of the public attended, and questions were centered around any additional parking and the location of the construction entrance. Since the project was submitted prior to the adoption of the new architecture and building design standards, it was reviewed under our previous standards. The applicant is proposing a mix of brick, stone, and acrylic stucco, all which will comply and match the existing office buildings that front 3rd Street. The building matches all of those, and it will visually blend into the area given its size and scale. The applicant is requesting approval of a modification to allow the parking lot to encroach 5 feet into the required setback to the north. Staff is supportive of the request because the pavement that will be encroaching into the setback is just for cars to back out and turn around out of the parking stalls and doesn't actually contain a parking stall. Also, the residential use to the north has a parking setback of 10 feet from the same property line. Therefore, the proposed encroachment is not expected to negatively impact the residential use. There's also existing vegetation between the parking lots, which should help mitigate any kind of impact that could occur. With the conditions of approval shown here, the application meets the requirements of the UDO and the goals of the Ignite Comprehensive Plan, and I'm here for any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Bright. Do we have any questions for the staff or applicant? I'll start with you, Commissioner Brenbrook.
Yes, I got a quick question. Let's start with the applicant. You could probably answer this. The additional 4 parking spaces, are those parking spaces you need, that you desire, that you want to support this new building?
Being that the tenancy has not fully been identified yet, I don't have probably a clear defined answer for that. But as far as the activity on the existing building and the parking lot we have, the parking is sufficient. I typically visit this property probably about every 4 to 6 months, and I actually have become friends with the majority of my tenants. I'm a very reachable landlord and manager of my properties, and I've never gotten pushback that there's not enough parking. But I would also like to make sure that I provide parking as needed for those, which I was in full agreement to be able to add the 4 parking spots without any argument back to the city. I was happy to do that.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had, Chair. Thank you.
Commissioner Tuzinski.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Just a couple quick questions for the developer here. So it's a 2,500 square foot building, so each unit will be about 1,250 square feet each?
Correct, and again, dependent on the tenancy of the building, it could be one taking, yeah.
And are these 2 stories? Is there a second floor that's also available?
It is not, it's just a single story drop ceiling, and the dormers existing that are shown are just false dormers.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner Jana Ford.
No questions, Chair. Thank you.
Commissioner Yarrington.
Yeah, real quick, just trying to understand your space. How many parking spots are in each one of your spots right now in your development?
So if we had an overview of the map, there's actually a total of 4 buildings that are in the existing property, and we're adding the additional one property to it. So the parking lot actually is centered somewhat around the other 4 buildings. We've shown on our development plan, I have to actually see if it's actually on one of my slides. Here are these are the existing buildings that are in place that we're going to be matching. So when we join the 2 buildings, there will be a concrete walking path that will actually come to the new building on 414 Southeast 3rd Street. So there will not be parking directly at that building. It will be part of the existing parking, and you can see here's building D, C, B, and A. Obviously, the ones B and A that are existing on 3rd Street that we're matching.
Okay, so that's a community parking for all those buildings?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. And each, correct me if I'm wrong, each 2,500 square feet building, does that require 9 spots per building? That's a question for staff.
So for office in the downtown area, it'd be 4 per 1,000.
4 per 1,000. So yes, 2,500.
Yeah.
It would be 8 point something, round off to 9 spots, and then each one of those spots, of those 9, would be one ADA spot, I believe.
So ADA is calculated through the parking lot as a whole.
Okay.
So 50 stalls and below require one ADA with van accessible. 100 to 50 or so. It's 49 to 1 to 49 is one.
Okay, so we're looking at, we should have roughly 45 spots to park, community spots to accompany all those 2,500 times 5, okay. All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
So if there's 81 already, 81 spots, and we need 45, do we even need those 4? I guess that's a question I would have for staff. Maybe I misunderstood that.
Yeah, when this property was originally approved with their PDP, they were approved with 77 stalls. I believe it was 5 of those were in excess, so we're adding 4 for a total of 9 to help provide the necessary parking for this building itself. The parking, I was out there today, it wasn't full. I don't know if it frequently does get full, but it's just there in case we do need it, in case there are tenants that do need it.
Okay. So those 4 wouldn't be part of the community lot. They would be,
They will. They'll be added up here, if you can see. So there's an existing dumpster. I believe it's here.
Correct.
And so this one is going to go away, and then the stalls will be added in that area. And that's why they're going to be encroaching on that setback.
okay, thank you. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak in support or opposition of the application? Any more additional questions from the commission? Did the applicant have anything else to add to our, did you have anything else to add to the, okay, all right. Hearing no further testimony, I'm going to close the public hearing and reopen the regular meeting. Is there any commission discussion or a motion on this application?
Sure. I have a question, I think.
Do we need to reopen or
It's a
reopen?
comment or question?
So if the question or comment includes new facts, it will need to be reopened through the public hearing. If it is just a comment or a question clarifying testimony that has already been presented, we can move forward.
Okay. Comment.
Okay.
Or maybe it's a,
If you want to go ahead and pose your comment, we can determine the proper process forward.
Perfect.
Thank you. Essentially, I'm okay with the rezoning, but not with the additional parking, considering the usage and the excessive numbers already. So,
So that could be a comment based on the motion
okay,
of how you're going to vote.
okay.
Commissioner Benbrook?
Yeah, can I maybe be best get some clarifications?
Okay.
Are we underparked or overparked on this facility? Considering the new building, the current parking plus the 4 additional, what is the code minimum and what do we have?
The current parking plus the 4 proposed, we would be meeting code.
Okay, are we overparked? Do we have an
It is
excess?
currently overparked right now since there's not that building there.
Okay, but with the new building, will be adequate to what is,
With the additional stalls, we would be meeting the code
okay,
requirement.
so we're
yes.
not overparked, we are perfect.
We're meeting, yes.
Thank you.
Did you want more clarification on that, Commissioner Yerington?
No, as I understood it, we need 9 spots per 2,500 square feet building, and you have five of those, right? 9 times 5 is 45 spots. That includes the ADA. We have 81.
So not all buildings are 2,500 square feet.
Okay.
There's some other buildings that have different square footage.
Okay, I wasn't here in 2025, so I apologize when it was proposed. Okay. So according to the square feet, the staff and the city know that we're comparable to.
We are good.
Yeah, we're good. Thank you.
This has been a night of confusion.
I know we're here to vote on rezoning and not the parking spots, but just a question, sorry.
Well, I think the objective here is to make sure we're not requiring the applicant to do more than they have to do as far as the parking. So, okay, so I think we have clarification on that, and I am ready for a motion.
Madam Chairman, I move to recommend approval of application number PL 2024-281, rezoning from RP4 to PO and preliminary development plan, Moehle Acres Office Building, 414 Southeast 3rd Street, Rhoades Real Estate LLC applicant.
Second.
Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Eddie Arrington,
Yes.
Sherry Frazier,
Yes.
Dana Arth,
Yes.
Jessica Greneau,
Yes.
Tanya Jonaford,
Yes.
Chip Tazinski,
Yes.
Randy Benbrook.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. I will now close the regular meeting and open the public hearing in the matter of application PL 2025-195, rezoning from Ag to CP2 and preliminary development plan, Douglas Corporate Center, approximately 9 acres located at the southeast corner of Northeast Lee Summit Road and Northeast Douglas Street. Dahmer Brothers Investments, LLC. Would everyone who plans to speak on behalf of this application please stand up and be sworn in at this time?
I promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
All right, does the applicant have a presentation? If you would please state your name and address for the record.
Jeff Bartz, Own Engineering, 8455 College Boulevard, Overland Park, Kansas.
Thank you.
This one, right? Yep. Okay. Thank you. Good evening. I'm here to just give you a quick brief on what Douglas Commons is. I believe it's in your report as Douglas Corporate Center, but same project. We're just updating the name a little bit. This project includes 5 commercial lots is what we're proposing. This is on Douglas Street, just kind of on the east side of where the big Discovery Park project is, and just west of the airport. Just to give you some background on this project, this is a very complicated site. It's kind of a piecemeal of old right-of-way, additional land that was acquired, and part of this rezoning process is to kind of get it all to one commercial zone instead of 3 different zones. Other challenges with the site, there is a stream corridor that goes through there. We've worked with the city staff to provide waivers for that buffer. This is a stream that is very low quality. It's been demolished several times over the course of construction of Douglas Street and the airport, so there really isn't a lot of high-value vegetation there. That said, we did get it identified, and wetlands identified where that boundary actually is, and that's what we're proposing to preserve. So the quality of vegetation that is there, that's what we intend to keep. And we're just reducing that buffer from the large buffer requirement that the city ordinance says. Another complicated issue with this site is the large water transmission main that cuts through the site, kind of along where the old right-of-way was. So this plan is very particular in that it kind of keeps the ground the same elevation over that pipe so that we don't have to relocate it or change that in any fashion. And the other one is just that we're adjacent to the airport, and with that comes some restrictions on height. Just to let you know that we are aware of that, we are meeting those and have no concern of meeting those. Traffic improvements proposed. We are proposing to adding 2 right turn lanes off of Douglas northbound. Those would be the right turn into our new street and a new right turn onto the Douglas Street that continues north to the airport. Pending warrants, we are proposing a traffic signal that would align with the entrance to both our street and the main entrance to the approved apartments to the west from Discovery Park. Just a quick rundown of kind of what each lot has and kind of what we're expecting. And just to preface this with, we don't know exactly what the tenants will be in these spaces, but we have looked at kind of what the space will allow for each lot. And so this lot 1 is the smallest lot. It's a little trickier and really only has the space to have a drive-through type either restaurant or coffee shop. But just keep that in mind as we go through these, that none of these are really set in stone. The intent for this is to be sold to a potential user, at which time they would come back to the Planning Commission with final development plan, and then you would see the final renderings and materials and all of that. Again, I'll quickly breeze through these, just kind of another restaurant in Lot 2, more of the traditional drive-through, sit-down, casual restaurant. Lot 3 is proposed to be more of a retail/restaurant, kind of mixed-use space. And then Lot 4, we've kind of allotted for a C-store with gas pumps. And then Lot 5, more of a self-service storage facility. And we are aware of the condition that this will need to come back to a revised preliminary development plan with a special use permit for this use. So we are in acknowledgement of that. So keep it short and sweet, and I'll be available for any questions.
Thank you. I didn't see you back there until you got up.
Good evening, Hector Soto Jr., Senior Planner. I'd like to enter into the record Exhibit A, list of exhibits 1 through 20.
Exhibit A, 1 through 20, noted and entered into the record.
So as the applicant has stated, this application is kind of a two-prong application. There is a rezoning component, which is approximately 3¼ acres that is composed of the area right at the intersection where Douglas turns toward the airport and continues northeast on the site. So more specifically, it's this Lot 4 area where the proposed C-store is located, is primarily the boundaries of the area that's currently zoned agricultural and is proposed to be rezoned CP2. The bulk of the application associated with the rezoning is for the plan for the overall development of the 5 lots that are shown here. And as Mr. Bart said, acknowledged, there is a condition about number 5, about that coming through at some future point with the separate preliminary development plan and special use permit application. Just to orient everyone to the location, to those that are not familiar with it, here you can see the north-south runway at the airport here, just to the immediate east. Here to this kind of, what we call it, kind of bubblegum colored here at the northwest corner of Colburn and Douglas is the initial phases of Discovery Park that are currently going up. There's this kind of camel color to the north of that will be an apartment development that's already been previously approved, and it'll be coming fairly soon, we believe. The general character of that area, it's kind of a transitional area. As Lee Summit Road continues north past Douglas, there's a lot of larger acreage, single-family development there along that corridor. So right now, this site's about less than half a mile, about 0.4 miles, if you're measured from the southern boundary of the proposed center, from the interchange of 470 and Douglas. So it's still in close proximity to that, one of our significant interchanges along I-470, and is in an area that can provide services to existing area residents for single-family development and the forthcoming multifamily and other commercial development that will continue as the Discovery Park area develops here on that northwestern quadrant of the interchange. Here, the hatched area here kind of denotes again where that Lot 5 is. But overall, if you were to include the footprint of that building, just to give everyone an idea as to what the full potential that the developers is considering for this, is we're looking at about 31,000 square feet of total lot area. If you were to omit this lot, the lot 5, you'd be looking at somewhere about 18,000 square feet for the remaining lots here that lie directly along the east boundary of Douglas Road. Mr. Bartz have gone through some of the typical elevations that are proposed for the center. The materials that you're primarily going to see are cementitious panel, brick, ephes, metal panel, and glass. Again, this elevation here to the south, on the southeast corner, the lower right-hand side of this slide, is for that potential future development that would be considered a future point. But it's included here to show how there's kind of an architectural thread that's being woven through the development. And there is a design criteria that the applicant is also proposing that's going to govern what the overall look is going to be for that center. The comprehensive plan shows this property primarily as commercial in nature. There is a little bit of civic, and the reason why the civic designation was listed there was that at the time that Douglas Road was reconfigured, the city had to acquire some property in there to make that reconfiguration of the street. So at the time, not knowing what the future kind of held for that piece of property, the civic land use designation was granted based on the city's ownership of that site. But that since has been conveyed and acquired by the developer. So expansion of that commercial land use designation to encompass all of the boundaries in yellow would be consistent overall with the highest and best use of the property and consistent with the nature of what the developer is proposing for the remaining 6 acres of that 9-acre lot site, rather. There is one request for modification that does affect 2 lots. It affects lots 2 and 4. Lot 4 being the C-store at the far north end of the site, and Lot 2 being the drive-through facility located at the far south end of the site. So one thing I'll backtrack a little bit here is, as you can see, that it's an odd-shaped lot. Broad at the top, very narrow at the south end of it. You've got an arterial road that runs along the western boundary of it, and with that, there is quite a bit of right-of-way that's actually within the boundaries of well, I guess that house Northeast Douglas Street. To give you some point of reference, most arterial streets have a range of right-of-way between 90 on the low end and upwards of normally probably more than 100, 120 sometimes, total width of right-of-way. If you were to start measuring the right-of-way here where it starts to kind of jog, there's actually upwards right now of about 155 feet of total right-of-way. Down at this very south end, you do get closer to a more normal 100 feet of right-of-way. So a couple areas I'll highlight here is that adjacent to this southern lot, the southernmost lot, they're proposing about 15, we'll just round it down to say about 15 feet of separation from this drive-through lane. And the separation between the boundary of that lane to the nearest travel lanes of Douglas Street are somewhere around 70 feet. Going to the north end, you're looking at about 75 feet of separation from the proposed or the prospective boundary of that C-store parking lot that surrounds the gas canopy area. And they're looking at about a 14-foot setback when measured to the actual right-of-way line. But again, the travel lanes are about 75 feet away from the boundary. There was a neighborhood meeting that was held. 3 members of the public attended, and there were just general questions about proposed land use, what the fate of the creek or the drainage area was going to be, and just overall just land use questions, and specifically also including the convenience store. Staff has not received any direct feedback from any neighbors in opposition or against. So with that, staff is recommending approval of the development subject to conditions 1 through 4. And I'll yield to any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Soto. I'll start with you, Commissioner Yerington. Do you have any questions for staff or applicant?
No, I don't have any questions.
Commissioner Frazier?
So I know this is for the applicant. I know you can't say definitively, but can you remind me where the proposed C-store?
Yeah, it's on this map. It's the kind of top left. That would be
Which lot is?
Lot 4.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. Thank you.
Commissioner Gruno, did you have a question? Not yet. Commissioner Jana Ford?
Thank you, Chair. This would be for Mr. Soto. So we're reviewing this PDP. Lot 5, anything that's in hatched is for reference, but not finalized. We will get it back.
Correct.
Okay. Can I make questions on it? No. On Lot 5, even though it's not part of this approval?
Did you ask if you can ask questions on it?
Yeah, like specific questions.
I mean, you can ask.
Just shut me down if I can't.
No, you can ask and we'll see what we can answer.
Okay. Well, then this will be for the applicant.
Okay.
Thank you. So in your description of this project, you'd indicated primarily proposed of one-story structures, and I saw that all the elevations are at 24 feet max with maybe parapet height additional. But Lot 3, which is slated to be a storage, it's not 1.
No, that one is 3-story.
Okay, and is that still compliant with like the FAA airspace and everything?
Yeah, that lot is kind of down at the bottom of the hill, and so we're actually almost 20 feet lower than the other side of the property. So those extra stories are still actually lower than the other buildings, which are all below what will be required for FAA.
Okay, that makes sense. Maybe I'll just make as a comment, when this comes back to us, it'd be great to have a section kind of helping identify the relationships between everything. So, thank you, that's all. Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Trzynski?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I have a question for the engineer. So on those two places where you're asking for a reduced setback, with regards to all of these lots, will they be individually sold or will they be maintained by a single ownership?
Individually sold.
Yes, the intent is individually sold.
Okay. And real quick, before you sit down, I do have a question for staff. How often is Lee Summit Road through this area maintained, mowed?
I don't believe anyone here can answer that specifically, no.
I guess.
Is there a specific concern? Or?
Yeah, well, what I'm asking for is, I mean, you would like a setback, which I tend to agree with, but at the expense of what? And so the expense is going to be of some sort of landscaping or something in between that's going to take place. And so you're going to have less room to put that in. So my question was going to be for the applicant is, I mean, will you maintain that right of way in exchange for less setback? Is there going to be a way to make it look nice, to beautify it for the area, because you may have to put your landscaping elsewhere? That's really where I was going from.
I don't think we have any issue maintaining that ground.
Okay, so can we put this on as a condition of approval of the reduced in setback, that the owner will maintain the right of way adjacent to it?
I guess one question I have is just, can you kind of define a little bit more what you mean by maintaining the right of way? Just mowing?
Mowing, yeah. I mean, yeah, maintaining it. If they go out there and they cut it, they just cut it all. Make it look nice in front of the development anyway. A lot of businesses do that along state right of ways, city right of ways. I just want to make sure that, in return for the setback, which, I mean, I'm okay with. I think it'd be nice to have a nice section there maintained. I mean, that's pretty much the entry into that corridor. You can have a lot of great development across the street from it. I know why you're developing that area. Hopefully it'll make you a bunch of money. But I just want to make sure that we can have it maintained or something in exchange
So
for this.
to add some to that, this is going to be like any other private development along right-of-way. They will be required to maintain that right-of-way, mowing, just like you are required to mow the right-of-way in front of your house. They're not asking for any reduction in the landscaping along that street frontage, so all required UDO landscaping will be installed as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Benbrook?
Yeah, one question regarding, is it lot 5 in the corner? Is that what it is? It looks like there's a current stream running through there. I guess just fill me in on the plan on that real quick. It's a stream corridor. Are you working with the Army Corps of Engineers? Are you proposing to fill it in, to cover it over and allow?
Nope, so We are intending to keep the stream as is everywhere except for where it crosses the new street. Other than that, it'll be the same channel and actually all of the surrounding wetland that's next to it preserved.
Okay, so you're going to build the parking in the street and all that around what is currently there?
Yep, yeah,
And you're
that's
going to
kind of why
maintain
the
it?
parking kind of wraps around, because we're staying out of that stream corridor, or out of the wetland area.
Wetland. So it is classified as wetland?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you. Commissioner Grono?
You had a really great, in your presentation, you had a great layout of all of the different lots. Can you pull that up real quick? No offense to staff's presentation. I'm a sucker for a good presentation. There was one more that had them all laid out with all of our numbers. That'll work. I don't know what I was thinking of. There was one in there. It's great, though. What is the walkability path or sidewalks or plan in between all of these?
So this one might be better.
Okay.
The plan is to have a sidewalk along the west side of the new street all the way through the length of that entire street. And there's currently a wider trail along Douglas. And then we'll also make the connection from that along Douglas. It's a little confusing with the names, but essentially you'll have a sidewalk that loops on from Douglas to the new street all the way around. We are not proposing any sidewalk on the east side, only because there's really nothing to serve on the east side except at the very ends, and so we're providing crossings, and we are providing payment in lieu of to the city as part of that.
Okay. So now this is probably more for staff or maybe even for traffic of how does this development attach into the other developments that are going on over in that Discovery Park? And is there connection points with that, walkability paths? Will everyone be able to walk and hang out, or is it safe? All of those good things.
I'm trying to see what the best way to show this would be.
The best way.
So right now, I'm trying to remember, I don't know if maybe Susan can jog my memory. Is there a signalized intersection here?
Not as part of Discovery.
No.
No, there's not a current signal planned with Discovery Park. So the location that Douglas Corporate Center has is their south entrance. Where the heck's the mouse? This one?
Oh,
This one.
Yeah.
It's about here, I want to say. Seem about right. It's toward the south of their lot. That's going to be directly across from Allura Apartments, and then Allura and Discovery Park, they have connectivity with their sidewalks.
Okay.
So it will be a signalized crossing that you can get across Lee Summit Road / Douglas, whatever you want to call it there. And so there will be walkability across the busy street.
And then what is, and this might be more for the applicant again, I'm sorry, what is the timing of this development in comparison to the rest of the development that's going on? Spring of this year, next year?
Spring of this year,
Okay, that's exciting.
as soon as we can.
Okay. I think that's all my questions for now.
Thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in support or opposition of this application? Any additional questions from the commission? Hearing no further testimony, I will close the public hearing and reopen the regular meeting. Any commission discussion on the application or a motion? Commissioner Jana Ford.
I move to recommend approval of application PL 2025-195 rezoning from AG to CP2 and preliminary development plan, Douglas Corporate Center, approximately 9 acres located at the southeast corner of Northeast Lee Summit Road and Northeast Douglas Street. Dahmer Brothers Investment, LLC.
Second.
Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Ed Yarrington,
Yes.
Sherry Frazier,
Yes.
Dana Arth,
Yes.
Jessica Gruneau,
Yes.
Tanya Jana Ford,
Yes.
Chip Tazinski,
Yes.
Randy Benbrook.
Yes.
Thank you, guys, for coming here and presenting that tonight. Correct. I will now close the regular meeting and open the public hearing in the matter of PL 2025-079, rezoning from AG to RP1, RP4, and CP2, preliminary development plan, Legacy Ridge, 815 Southwest Hook Road, Griffin Riley Property Group, applicant. If all of you who plan to speak on behalf of this application would stand up and be sworn in at this time.
I promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
I do.
Thank you. And we have a applicant presentation.
Matter which one.
Thanks.
Technologically challenged here, so just working through a few things. Okay, and then. Okay, and then how do you?
Yeah, you should be fine.
And then you just got me
Yeah,
going?
just
Okay,
arrow through.
cool. All right, thank you. Well, good evening, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. I'm Jake Lovelace with the Griffin Riley Property Group, and our address is 21 Southeast 29th Terrace in Lee Summit. Tonight, I'm here to talk with you guys about Legacy Ridge, which this is an opportunity for us to kick off the long-awaited and anticipated PRI ground and the land improvements associated with that. This property and project is envisioned as a true master plan community that's going to balance live, work, and play, and do so while supporting Lee Summit's long-term growth plans. So where are we at today? We started out by meeting with neighbors and listening to their feedback. After that, we met with you and we received your guys' input. We then went back and held an additional good neighbor meeting to continue the conversation and make sure that we were really hearing what people were telling us. We're now back before you with an adjusted plan that reflects much of what we've heard. The themes were pretty consistent. People want more ownership opportunities. They want less density. They don't want apartment buildings. On the commercial side, they prefer that we only show pad sites that are for products that we would actually build ourselves, rather than depicting specific end users. Unless, of course, we had a Starbucks. So, and I don't today, so we don't have a Starbucks shown. But in the event that that happens, we'll be in good shape. This version that we present to you tonight is an effort to be responsible and show that we took the feedback seriously that you guys provided and that the neighbors provided, so that we can be good neighbors and be responsive to the Planning Commission comments that we've heard. So before, and I realize there's a lot going on here, but just kind of stay with me. Before, the plan included 737 residential units, with 541 of them being for rent and 196 homes for sale. Today, we've modified that concept to reduce the total count by 231 units across this property. The majority of the remaining units that we have on the project now are for sale. So we're proposing today an update of 284 homes for sale, including 88 townhomes for sale, and 90 market rate townhomes for rent, and 132 active adult townhomes. The goal that we had was straightforward. We wanted to create more ownership opportunities in response to addressing the missing middle that exists in Lee Summit. And I'll circle back to that later on, but that's the goal here, that's the theme. We want to reduce overall density on the project to capture the comments that we've received, and we still want to be able to have the same high-quality amenities that make the development attractive and viable. This next slide that we have here is pretty straightforward, but I wanted to be able to provide the figures for you guys to easily digest to see exactly how much this project has changed. So it's a fairly straightforward slide, but it's intended to show you those adjustments with real figures. So we increased the homes for sale, as I mentioned, from 196 to 284. That's an increase of 88 homes for sale. On the for rent side, we decreased from 541 units for rent to 222 units for rent. The total units on this project were decreased by 231 units. One of the other comments that we heard when we were discussing things with the neighbors and with Planning Commission was, why a little bit of commercial on this corner? And so what I'm attempting to show here is the road structure, the infrastructure that exists in Lee Summit. As you can see, what we have at this location is that this is Warden Hook, and it's an intersection of a major arterial road and a minor arterial road. That is not incidental. It is signalized already. It's a high visibility corner. It's designed to carry traffic and serve a broader area. As part of Lee Summit, as this part of Lee Summit continues to grow, this intersection is only going to continue to get more busy. It will just happen with development in that corridor. We are adding another stoplight to the south of that location on Warden Hook right now as it sits. So again, as this part of Lee Summit continues to grow, that intersection is only going to become more active. From a planning perspective, that's exactly where neighborhood retail and commercial should go. It's not the ideal long-term location for residential front doors to be facing an intersection that's that busy. It is, however, the right location to have smaller scale retail and commercial that serves the surrounding rooftops that you have in that area. We're only proposing 13.5 acres of a 135 acre development to be commercial on that corner. That's it. That is intentional. It's not a regional retail or big box development location, right? It is a neighborhood serving commercial placed at the logical activity node that's consistent with how Lee Summit has operated in other corridors just like this. And we listed a handful of different locations there where this node pattern's been established and is consistent with those. And again, a big part of the reason why we show this as future commercial on that location is because we don't believe it would be a good residential fit to have houses that are backing up to a corner that's that busy, and that will only get busier moving into the future. As the residential builds out around it, the demand will follow, and we've seen that pattern across the city. Rooftops create the need for services. On this next slide, I'm just showing an example of retail that we've developed in the past. So when we're talking about neighborhood retail and things like that, this is the only example of architecture that we gave you in the PDP, because this is, to the comments we received from some of the community members, this is what we would produce. You know, it would be neighborhood retail that would be akin to that, services that are around and available. So this is just intended to show as an example of something that we might build ourselves. So circling back to the residential, how does what we're providing to you guys tonight, how does that align with the comprehensive plan and with Ignite? Legacy Ridge was designed to help close the housing gap by offering a range of different options, including single-family homes, villas, and townhomes. This approach supports housing diversity and sustainable growth for Lee Summit. And importantly, the proposed densities that we provide in here remain below everything that Ignite has published for both Category 1 and Category 2 residential, to, again, be neighborly with respect to the comments that we've heard. So this next slide is super interesting, and it's one of the more compelling things that, you know, I reviewed when evaluating, all right, why do we have this product mix out here on this project in particular? So, you know, set aside what Ignite says. What does the market say about where Lee Summit's at today? And so right here, you know, when we're addressing the different segments of the market, when we've got a 135 acre site, it's a very large site. If you were to only build one different product type on this site, you limit the pool of customers that you're going to have available to be able to purchase homes, right? There are only so many people that are willing to shop at any single price point within a community. When demand softens for that one product type, absorption stalls. And we saw a really good example of that here in Lee Summit within the last, you know, however many months of a project that actually absorption stalled for decades. You actually had utilities that were in the ground that had to be replaced because of lack of use. The graphic above is intended to explain kind of the broader context of this. So historically, under 6 months of supply, or call it 6 months of supply, that's the kind of the breaking point between what's considered oversupply and undersupply in a market. And so the category on the far right, what it's showing you is on current properties that are for sale in Lee Summit, what is the time on market the remaining months of inventory that we have in supply here in Lee Summit. And what this shows us is that basically, if you can, I mean, $200,000 to $299,000 is probably a myth for us to be able to put together. I mean, just is what it is, to put together product offering for that. But $300,000 to $600,000, where we still are well under, I mean, $300,000 to $399,000 would be a fantastic number to be able to achieve to offer different product supply for folks here in Lee Summit. And all the way up to $600,000, we show that we have a significant demand here in Lee Summit. That's the largest amount of properties that we have is in between that $300,000 and $600,000 by a wide margin, and we need more of it. Because today in Lee Summit, and this was shocking to me, the average price of a pending sale on a home in Lee Summit was $620,000. The reality is that this reinforces why we're focusing on the missing middle here with this project. Our goal is to create more opportunities for people within that price range of $300,000 to $600,000, and expanding the buyer pool to be able to support steady, sustainable absorption across this community for Lee Summit. This is a project that our community needs. So at the end of the day, our goal is simple. We wanted to deliver a thoughtful, financially sustainable community that responds to the market here in Lee Summit, where we respect our neighbors and we support the long-term growth of Lee Summit. We have listened. We have significantly adjusted the project that we proposed to you guys here tonight. And we respectfully ask for your support to be able to move this project forward. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lovelace. Mr. Soto, it looks like you're next.
Hector Soto Jr., Senior Planner. I'd like to enter into the record Exhibits 1 through 21. ... So if you want to go ahead with that one.
Exhibits 1 through 21 noted and entered into the record.
And I do have two additions.
Oh, okay.
So the first addition is I would like to also add Exhibit 22, which is an updated sheet C1.1 received by the City of Lee Summit yesterday, February 25th, 2026.
Okay, Exhibit 22.
And I also am adding Exhibit 23, which is an email from Miss Lisa Heller dated February 21st, 2026.
Okay, so Exhibits 22 and 23.
Correct.
Please enter those into the record as well.
Okay, so the application in front of you, this body heard almost 2 months ago. It was January 8th of 2026. At that time, for those in the audience that may know, I assume everyone here in the audience probably knows the outcome of that meeting, but the recommendation at that time from the Planning Commission, based on the iteration that was brought before this body about 2 months ago, was for recommendation for denial. Some of the concerns expressed at that time by the Planning Commission, as well as some of the residents that were there, had to do with some of the points that Mr. Lovelace had touched on, the location of the commercial, but it seemed like the majority of the concerns, especially from residents, had to do with more the density of the proposed project. Perhaps most significantly might have been the potential for upwards of 300 apartments, which were just included at that time as a conceptual plan. So there was no entitlement that was sought at that point, but there was a conceptual plan to show a potential future land use on that property, and that was a 300 dwelling unit apartment complex, as I mentioned. So rather than duplicate a lot of the testimony I'd given at that last meeting, which still stands, I'm just primarily going to focus on the areas of change from the difference from that meeting to this one. So given a broad overview, again, for those that weren't here at the last meeting, we're looking at approximately 131 total acres. The iteration that's being brought forth tonight has 505 dwelling units, an overall density for the residential component of 4.6 dwelling units per acre, which with this iteration is 1 unit per acre less than the previous iteration. The previous iteration had a residential density of about 5.6, and with the changes that are being brought forth tonight, that density for the residential piece only has been dropped down to 4.6. So here, this slide is intended to provide kind of a side-by-side of the changes to provide a comparison. So the areas that are color-coded are the areas in which there has been a change from the previous iteration that was brought before you. And one additional change that was not included in the packet, because we just received it yesterday, is specifically the area in red here. So the packet that went out showed a convenience store at this location where it's red. The applicant yesterday submitted a revised plan sheet, swapping out or eliminated the C-store and replacing it with an additional multi-tenant commercial building, let me go here. So this image here is what was in the packet and went out to everyone. This was actually the original iteration. To the immediate south, it still, and to the east, it had the multi-tenant commercial buildings. The one I'll point out here is this one here to the south of the C-store, which is a multi-tenant commercial building, about 14,000 square feet in size. So with the revised plan that staff has received, they've removed the C-store and basically mirrored that type of same building in use to the north. So you had a 14,000 square foot building to the south. Now they're removed the C-store and done the same with that lot at the hard corner. And I'll go through each of the color-coded areas. But again, just to reiterate some of the reductions, the original iteration, including the conceptual development plan with the apartments, had about 738 dwelling units. This iteration now before you has 505. The aforementioned reduction in density from 5.6 to 4.6 units per acre is for the residential portion. And as I just mentioned, they've swapped out a convenience store, gas station with an additional multi-tenant commercial building in this red area. Now, with the swapping out of the buildings, they did increase the amount of commercial square footage from 66,054 for all 6 total lots to 73,504. The C-store was about 6,600 square feet in size. The new building is 14,000, so that accounts for the almost 8,000 square foot difference. So we're getting 8,000 additional square feet approximately in building square footage, but we're getting a much less intense land use at that particular corner. I will run through some of the different areas, but just to highlight what has changed and what has not changed. So at the far southwest corner, here outlined in yellow, it was originally proposed as detached single-family lots, some of them 50-foot wide lots, some 60-foot wide lots. That area remains unchanged, so that is still the same from the previous plan. At that time, there was a modification request to the minimum lot size. The UDO requires a minimum 6,600 square foot lot area. There are lots in here that are dipping just under that by just about 100 square feet less. So there's just a marginal difference in the minimum lot size that was requested. That is unchanged. And again, that's specifically for the pod of single-family detached that directly abuts Ward Road here at the southwest corner of the development. This color here, it's kind of a cyan color. There is a slight change to this. In this area, they've reduced the amount of lots by 2, and the next slide will show a side-by-side. It reduced the density just a little bit from, I believe, 5.4 units to 5.2. there were 73 lots, as I mentioned, and they're down to 71. So the difference here was, the only difference here has to do with the image in red, outlined in red. So on all these slides, the red outlined areas images are the ones that were the previous iteration, and the green is what's is now being proposed. So the lone change is that we'll call it the kind of primary east-west road internal to the site is now being punched through to connect to the townhome area that abuts it to the west. And in punching through this street, they lost 2 lots to be able to make way for that street to go in. But otherwise, the remaining configuration of that area remains the same. That density did go down from 5.4 to 5.2 with the loss of those 2 lots. So the next area of change here is this peony color. So the side-by-side here shows that they were able to, so this is a little bit more, this had been a significantly denser product initially. In the middle, they had a lot of 4-unit attached that were kind of particularly smaller townhome lots. In total, under the same overall acreage, they were looking at about 109 total dwelling units in this area, and they've made it less dense. They've basically reduced that area by about 21 total dwelling units. So that brings the density down from 8.1 here on the left to 6.6 units here on the right. There's been some reconfiguration of the street network, but it overall generally is the same. They kind of they did this northeast corners where the street punches through, and there's a slight change in how this road kind of comes through. But overall, the general geometry is generally about the same. But again, the biggest significant difference is the loss of 21 lots through here to decrease that density. And in doing so, they were able to kind of open up more of a common area, kind of open space in the middle of that townhome component. This area is more attached single-family development that they're labeling it as kind of active adult area. This area remains unchanged, so there's no difference to this particular component that had 132 dwelling units. The last area, well, second to last area, but the last portion of the residential area that they've made changes to is what used to be a 17-acre, 300 dwelling unit apartment area under a conceptual plan. They've now incorporated seeking preliminary development plan approval for 90 dwelling units. So the difference being 210 dwelling unit difference, there's a reduction with what's being brought forward here. Again, there would still continue to be connectivity from the north and to the south from the internal streets to provide that street network to serve this townhome area. Here's a side-by-side showing the apartments that were conceptually shown before and the new layout with townhomes. And then finally, the last area, which was the commercial, previously shown as a C-store, which was 6,600 square foot building, now being replaced with a 14,000 square foot building that mirrors that development to the south and is consistent with the remaining 5 lots that make up the commercial component of the site. All of the changes that are being proposed are consistent with, as was the original iteration, continues to be consistent with the comprehensive plan in terms of providing additional housing options for area residents. Again, one of the things that our UDO does not mention, but I know has been brought up by some of the residents, is owner versus rent. That's not something that is addressed in our UDO. It's again more housing typologies as opposed to how tenancy is regulated. In fact, the UDO doesn't regulate tenancy, whether owner occupied or not. The use is the use, whether it's rented or owned. That's what the UDO looks at and what staff bases their recommendations on. None of these elevations have changed, so these are all consistent with what was previously proposed, except these will now just kind of expand into some of the areas where the apartments were shown so that the townhome elevations that were previously included, which some of these are typical here, are now being expanded, and those would be reflective of what would be proposed there along the Ward Road frontage. Commercial component, again, this is kind of typical for that area, that would remain unchanged as well. The phasing of the development is a little bit different in that previously they had broken the phasing into, I believe it was 3 phases. With this revised plan, they're treating all of the residential area as being phase 1, with commercial being phase 2, understanding that within those areas, the residential areas, there may be sub-phases, but generally residential would be phase 1, commercial would be phase 2. There are a couple revisions based on the updated plans that we received yesterday that are a little bit different than what you received in your packet. So the changes are outlined, are identified by the bold, most notably 3 and 6, with 3 having had to include the additional language that development shall be in accordance with the revised plan previously dated January 28th, but then the cover sheet or sheet C1.1 would actually be the one that was previously provided yesterday by the city, dated February 25th, 2026. Condition number 6, this one may garner some just future massaging as we make our way through this process, but the most recent traffic study that was provided reflecting the change from the previous iteration included the C-store. So with the plan sheet we revised yesterday, it's no longer completely in alignment. So there may or may not be some additional road improvements or differences that may be called for with the traffic study. That's something that would have to be evaluated to this point. So the condition that we have currently right now, and I guess I'll read it just so everyone's aware of, I'll paraphrase it. Basically, we're asking for a updated traffic study reflecting the change in use for that corner lot, that corner commercial lot, to be provided at the time of final development plan, and that staff would have to review the updated traffic study at that time for concurrence, and basically construction of any required road improvement based on that updated plan identified by the city would have to be substantially complete prior to the issuance of any occupancy. So I'll leave that up there so that everyone can kind of digest it, and that may be an area where there may be some amendments to that language that staff or this body or perhaps the applicant may want to discuss further. But with all that being said, I will state that staff recommends approval of the proposed development plan, subject to conditions 1 through 6.
Thank you, Mr. Soto. Is there anyone who wishes to speak in support or opposition? Oh, I went too far there. Do we have any questions for the staff or applicant? And I will start with you, Commissioner Benbrook.
Not at this time, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Trzynski?
Yeah, I have one question for Jake, if you got a second there. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Mr. Lovelace, I mean, I hate to say it, we miss him, he's great on the board here. Could you just do me a favor and explain a little bit of what types of commercial what type of commercial businesses will you be targeting? And the reason I ask that is I hope the types of businesses that you're targeting to bring in here are ones that can support this community.
Exactly right.
You know, so what are you thinking? Could it be a grocery store? Could it be, I mean, I know there's one up the street, but what are you thinking?
My guess is realistically on this site, grocery store, we might not even have enough space for it. So maybe it could be a small grocer or something like that. But the reality is you're looking more like a daycare, a pediatrician, think of any number of different, small commercial uses that are services related to the residents that are, in the immediate surrounding area. You look at the other different corners that we were, kind of calling out as reference points. you have banks, you have urgent cares, you have veterinarians, an insurance office, right? I mean, those are the types of uses that we'll have here, mixed in with, hopefully you'll have some inline, small retail that's there to offer services. So you can have hair and nails and all those different things, and little workout facilities and things like that, right? So that's what I would envision here.
And then my second question is, as you, I don't know if you were here at the beginning part, but at the beginning of today's meeting, we had amendment to the Thoroughfare Master Plan, which directly impacts the amount of traffic that's really going to be going to that intersection, because as you're well aware of, there's going to be a new interchange at some point in the future.
Right.
That's going to take Scherer Road or Scherer Parkway away from Hook Road. You know,
Yeah.
Hook Road will be a secondary to that, where that'll be the main thoroughfare. So with that in mind, what have you thought of as the impact to the commercial, to this area? I mean, it's going to be nicer. I mean, you'll have less traffic off that road, so that would be great. But then you also have less people going to those businesses.
Sure.
And so that's why, with regards to like the question about the businesses, if they're items that people like to go to because they're on their way home, you know, it may be out of the way.
And I see that you're going to have some traffic that's going to be rerouted down there, probably because we're about at the capacity of what Ward should be able to handle right now, right? But the reality is that you're going to have an offset of all the different housing types that are going to be added in between, call it Hook and all the way up to Scherer. Because all of that ground is part of what will be, whether it's in this phase of the PRI land release or in next phase when some of that ground becomes sewerable, all of that is going to be developed. And so, long story short, yes, there might be some redirecting, but ultimately there will be more traffic in 10 years on that corner than what there is today. Whether or not Scherer happens, that extension of that time frame or not. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Jana Ford?
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Lovelace, you walked away too soon. So I think I only have two questions. First of them is just talking about the amenities they've got provided. They didn't change, but I just want to make sure I understand the intent. So the intent is two amenities, service two different housing categories, one being the adult, or active adult.
Right.
Which would be rented,
Correct.
and then all of the single families.
Everything else out there is going to have the other shared amenity center, which will be a large amenity center that'll have clubhouse, have pool. There'll be outdoor amenity areas that are there associated with that. The only reason why we keep the reunion product like what we have out at Blackwell right now, that's age targeted, they're villas, they're all single story product, right? Is that the amenities that customer looks for is a little bit different than what the other customers might look for.
Sure, okay. No, I appreciate that distinction. So the townhomes will or will not have access to the single-family amenities?
They will.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And then the other question I have, in the original application, the townhomes that you didn't change, they were sprinkled like designated off-street parking, and there isn't any more. What was the reasoning for removing those?
So the area before that was in the center of the project, if that's what you're talking about, the area that's in the center.
Not the active.
Not the active, yep. The other ones that previously, where we were planning on having those be for rent, we changed up the product type that was in there. We had two different product types that were in there before. One of them was a rear entry product type where you had a two-car garage that was on the back side of the building, but we had, I think the number was, forgive me, roughly 20 more units that were in there. I think 20 or 21 more units, something along those lines. We can look at those specific numbers. But so, two reasons. One, we still do, I believe, have some off-street parking that's in there and available. We just don't need as many because we have 20 fewer units in there. We reduced the density by 20% that's in that area. And then on top of that, keep in mind, we repositioned the entire driveways there so that every single one of the units that are in there now, you'll be driving directly into the front side of the house where the garage is located. Okay. And every one of the garages that we have out there is a two-car garage with 2 lanes to be able to stack cars for anybody that's parking there.
Okay. Do you mind pulling up the plan just so?
Not at all, not at all. I don't know who's got what up here right now. We can probably just go on yours, because you did a good job of having those sections highlighted. I don't think we need them, Matt. So if, it's, yeah, no, that's the old one.
Yeah,
So that one, go back one more. Yep, that right there. Okay, so
that's the new one.
this is the new one, that's correct. Did you want to see this one or the old one? I'm sorry.
I mean, if the, maybe.
We can show the old one too.
Yeah, let's show the old one first.
I thought we, that's the old plan right there. You can't.
That's the active though, right? I'm talking about the
Yeah,
one.
sorry, I was looking at the, there you go,
This one,
perfect,
yep.
perfect, okay, yep, that's, oh, thank you, what a great comparison, yeah, Hector's got it perfect. So the one on your left, on the screen is the original concept, and you can see all those, the buildings that are stacked in the center of the community there, those were rear entry, so you'd basically be pulling into those homes through an alleyway.
Okay.
Right? But what that did was that had a unit count then that was 109 units in that area that we had before. So what we did was we re-racked it to where every one of the homes are now street facing. We got rid of the alleyway that's there. And so every one of the homes will have a 2-car garage that you can pull up into. There's 21 less units that exist in that project. And then we'll still actually, we have as much or more area now. It doesn't look like we designated it, but we certainly have areas where if it were something that we were concerned with, we could add additional parking. But the reduction in units that we have there, the fact that you're all 2-car garages, you've got 2 lanes to be able to pull in your driveway, we're nicely parked on this project.
Okay. Does the same idea of being able to stack cars on the driveways apply to the active
Correct.
housing? Okay.
Yeah, correct.
And the reasoning for leaving those then?
Leaving the
I'm going to call them the designated, like angled parking you have sprinkled throughout the different sites.
So I guess honestly, I think it was something that we had kind of conceptually the first time around. We try to add those different pieces and quite frankly, on our final development plan, we may add a handful of them here just because, as you can see, we do have plenty of adequate space to be able to add off-street parking. I would think on this one, honestly, we may have just not contemplated that we needed it, and so we just didn't add it in. I'm not trying to make it sound like it was an oversight, but maybe it was a little bit of an oversight, not having a couple spots.
Oh, that's fine. I just wanted to ask because A, bring awareness, but B, you never know what the anticipated usage or the capacity, or last thing you want to do is drive through a street where you're like trying to stand between 2 parked cars.
Well, and that's the whole reason why everything that we bring to you guys is 2-car garages. The communities where you see that parking condition that exists is almost exclusively single-car garages. We can think about a handful of different spots around town that exist where there's parking challenges like that, and you end up having more cars out on the road. 2-car garages, we haven't seen that in the communities that we have.
Okay. That is all I have. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Trzynski.
Yeah, sorry, one follow-up question. And Jake and Shannon, I'm going to ask this question to you. Can you pull up in your presentation that chart that you had for all the price ranges and the homes that were available?
For sure.
Could you pull that up? And Shannon, can you go to that chart that he has up and point out to me what is the range or what is the missing middle on that chart? Because, to me, I have a hard time thinking 300,000, 600,000 is missing middle. But I think for me, I'd like to know what the city considers that so that I have an understanding for myself.
So this is the chart, and this is off of data that I just got in the last week. And so this is everything that was active in listings, and I didn't get this from the city, so this is my information that I'm presenting to you all. When I asked the real estate agent that provided this information to me what she considered currently to be the missing middle, she said 400,000. So, but the reality is that, so what this shows is you can see the number of pendings, so activity that exists in the market in Lee Summit right now, those are pending sales. And the vast majority of this, it looks like 70% of the activity, or close to it, maybe it's 65%, is in that 300,000 to 600,000 price point. And then as soon as you get up north of 600,000, well, you still have a handful of products that's out there. That's when you have much fewer pending sales. And so, to me, the missing middle is probably in that $300,000 to $400,000 range now, and I understand that may be like oh shoot, it's really that expensive at this point in time. But The reality is when the data that came from this month was 620,000 was our average sales price as far as a pending listing on market.
All right,
I'll
so
let staff answer however they want to.
missing middle is a function of structure type, not ownership type or price point type. So the missing middle, when you consider missing middle, it's more of that duplex, triplex, fourplex, some of that multi-unit structure type. So missing middle house refers to that, like I said, multi-unit housing types, and it works towards the form of the house and not the ownership or the price point of it. So typically when you get those duplexes, triplex, fourplexes, it does bring that cost point down into that more, what we consider reasonable than say your larger single-family lots. But again, it really focuses on that structure type versus ownership or price point.
So it's really, it's really kind of a fallacy to think that the missing middle is a price point that we can get younger people in. And so when we hear people talk about this missing middle, you're just never going to achieve it because realistically, like you said, it's a structure, it's a type of offering as opposed to a price of offering. And it may not be here in Lee Summit.
I would disagree slightly on that. I do believe we could accomplish the missing middle when it comes to structure type. That the types that we call missing, they're missing because historically they were common throughout the communities, and given the historical or more recent development types, we've kind of excluded those to and focus mostly on single-family traditional that we would think of, and multi-unit apartment types, not that middle of the duplex to triplex, fourplex type.
Okay.
That's where that middle comes from.
Okay.
That makes sense?
I think so.
Okay.
I think I'm following you because
I need to clarify.
there's a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah.
And so, all right, thank you, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Grono?
Can we talk through, just because there's been a lot of changes and there's a lot, there's just a lot with this. No offense to you guys, it's fantastic. Can we walk through the way things are zoned today and then what we're being asked to rezone? Can someone help us with that? Just more of a clarification to make sure we understand.
Okay, so here's kind of what exists now out in that area. Everything is green representing agricultural zoning. So with this application, the developer is requesting to rezone the existing ag zone property into 3 different zoning districts. So we'll start at the north. So at that hard corner of Hook Road and Southwest Ward Road, there is about 16 acres that's being requested to be zoned for commercial use. And then working our way down, kind of to that middle swath, where it's primarily going to be composed of the attached single-family dwelling units. That swath is going to, being proposed to be rezoned to RP4. The one exception to the attached dwelling units is that at this far east end, they're proposing the much narrower 40-foot wide lot, detached single-family homes, which are still allowed under the RP4 zoning. So that's perfectly in line with what's allowed under the RP4 zoning. And then at the very south end, closest to the existing subdivision to the south, they are proposing RP1, which is planned single-family residential, where are the 50 and 60-foot wide lots are being proposed. Again, all single-family detached, of the same nature of what's to the south. The only difference is that these lots are going to be narrower than the subdivision to the south, but in terms of ownership and housing typology, detached single family, it's going to be identical, what backs up to it. So you've got 3 bands of zoning is what they're requesting here. No, you're welcome.
Commissioner Frazier?
So everything else outside of that still remains ag, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Commissioner Yerington?
For Shannon, real quick, so the staff looked at the rezoning and has been evaluated for the future land use map and its alignment. Is that correct? I'm sorry. Shannon, Hector, whoever. Saying we're asking to rezone, but it's aligned with our future land use map and plan. And
So here's a snapshot of what the current future land use map. So it's a mix. So right now, this area calls for residential 1 and residential 2. So it's kind of a transition area, is the short answer. So with this plan, then yes, I mean, right now they are requesting commercial zoning up at the very top corner. And if you were to kind of repaint this, they're basically asking to extend this existing residential 2 color to kind of extend that band, working your way toward Ward Road.
Right.
Technically, this far south end does fall, because it is narrower lot, it does fall within the minimum lot size range for residential 2. But if you were just to look at the housing type, being single-family detached, it does function as residential 1. So there is some change, which we kind of expected
Right.
some of these transition points to happen. Yeah.
But it's generally aligned with the future
Generally
land
aligned
use.
with
Okay.
it, yes.
And infrastructure impacts stay the same as we discussed before, and nothing changes with infrastructure.
Correct. I mean,
Yeah.
once we get an updated traffic study, if this moves forward as proposed, there may be some additional different road improvements that may or may not be required, but generally, yes, infrastructure
Okay.
would be in place, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question for Mr. Lovelace. Before I ask my question, I just want to say, very nice presentation.
Thank you.
I appreciate all the hard work you guys put into it. My question is, do we have to have RP4 for that product type?
So to be clear, on our end, we don't have a preference whether it's RP2, RP2 with more stipulations for, variances basically that are called out. We lean on staff to make a recommendation to us as far as how the zoning works, and they're looking at it, and I don't want to speak for them, but they're looking at it and saying, you're giving us a PDP, so you're telling us what's going to be there, right? It's not a, this is what it's going to be. And they're looking at it and saying, how does this best fit into the zoning classifications that we have today, where we have a minimum amount of variances and modifications that are required? But on our end, I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Is that good enough?
That's what, because this is probably more for comment, but I would like us to use the minimum density zoning that we can use for this, just in case, for some reason, you don't go through with it, we've rezoned it, and then we're trying to, we've already talked about the apartments and how we don't want to do that, then someone else might be able to come in because it's been rezoned. So I guess we can save that for discussion.
Comment on one thing.
Sure.
So to provide a little bit of compare and contrast between RP3 and RP4, staff would also be comfortable going with an RP3 zoning. The one thing that it would do is that it would need to add back it would need an additional modification. So the biggest difference, I guess that'd be most impactful to this application if it moves forward, is that the RP4 zoning requires a minimum 3,500 square feet of lot area for each individual dwelling unit. So not structure. So if you have a fourplex, it would be 4 times 3,500 square feet to get that minimum lot area. If you go down to RP3, that bumps it up to 4,000 square feet. There are about 10 lots where if you were to go with RP3 zoning, that we would need some modifications on because they're just under that 4,000 square foot. They're actually kind of right between 3,700 square feet or so. So we would need to create an additional modification, which we can do. That's not a problem. We can craft one between now and city council if that is a desire for you to do so. In density, they're fine at RP3. They can meet, for each of those areas, they can meet that standard. It's really more at that minimum lot size factor where there'd be a modification that'd be required.
Okay. I would like to talk about that when we go to discussion. Okay. Any more questions from the commission? All right. I have two requests to comment. I don't know if there are more, but I will, I actually do have three. Okay, and I will,
Debbie Giddings. I don't want it to take into my time to have him pull up a map, though.
Which one?
I want the one with the colors, the beautiful colors, as big as one, not that one.
I wasn't going to call you first.
What?
No, I'm just kidding you. No, I will. I actually was going to call on you first.
That one. No, go back. That one.
Okay.
Yeah, that one's good.
Okay.
Can it be blown up any?
Not really. Yeah, I mean,
So they can,
parts of it can be, yes.
okay, that's perfect. Perfect,
Okay.
perfect. That's perfect. Okay, Debbie Giddings. Again, I also want to thank the developer, and I hope that more developers hear from this developer as far as what the public is wanting. I would have liked to have seen the pink and the camel be more single-family homes, because if I was shopping, I'd want a single-family home instead of buildings. The issues that I have, and I just want to propose to you because it wasn't talked about, and it needs to be talked about before the final plat, just to point out to the commission. The road namings are awful. In trying to understand this, it was hard. I had to come up with a moniker. If you took it Ward, it's Ridge and Reunion, so WRR. If it's Hook, it's Common and Legend, so HC&L. That's the only way I could figure out the roads. For instance, if you're going west on Hook and you want to turn onto the Commons, right now it shows a right-left turn only out of Commons. So where's those cars going to go? That's at least in the revisions of what they put online. The report off of Hook, as far as a light on Hook, they can't do it. It's too close to the intersection of Ward, so there's not going to be a light on there at any point. With Scherer coming in the way it is, it might work. However, there is going to be a light down here, as he mentioned, for full access at Ward and Ridge. See, I told you. Right now, it's just left, through, with, right, through, and right. If we're going to do that intersection, let's do it right. Do left and right and through, because you know that property on the other side is going to develop, as well as they're going to have U-turns there. Well, the developer is going to have to allow property to expand that for the U-turn. So let's do that right and get that done at the same time. The other issues are the roads to the commercial, and that has changed somewhat, so it's better. However, those two roads have right-in, right-outs. That's it. And you're going to have cross-traffic because there's a southbound Ward that's going to cross into that lower commercial, and there's going to be a left-hand west that's going to be coming into the commercial. And I see crossing traffic really close there. And so, I don't know. I just think, I know before the final plan, there'll be a lot of revisions and looked at as far as the roads, but I just wanted to point some of those things out to maybe have it looked at a little bit closer. And I agree, RP3 is a very good insurance policy for 10 lots. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Williard, if you would come to the microphone and state your name and address for the record.
Brendan Williard, 1201 Southwest Hook Road. First off, agree, do like some of the changes that were made. I still don't think we need commercial on this corner. There's commercial zoning everywhere with vacant land all around us. If you continue on Hook towards the 291 on-ramp, there's a lot there, zone CP2. Continue down Market Street, there's 15 acres for sale next to the Walmart, zone ag. Down south, northeast corner, Ward 150, there's an empty lot, CP2. Northwest corner, Ward 150, empty lot of P-Mix, which is Arbor Walk. Southwest Ward 150, empty lot, CP2 and PO. Southeast Ward in 150, there's already businesses. Prior Road in 150, there's P-Mix and RP4. Basically, there's commercial everywhere around us. This intersection gets busy, and adding commercial to it doesn't make any sense. Also, density of the homes, still a problem. These townhomes are about 14 feet apart. If we go up Ward 2 Purcell, we can see what that looks like. It's basically a long string of houses with no trees, just a little bit of grass and the back of the house. The traffic study ended at the high school. If you continue north, which is where most traffic would go onward, you run into Purcell, which has the double lights and the crossing for the trail there. And then if you go a little further, you hit Ward and Oldham Parkway and 3rd Street, which is the on-ramp to 50 Highway. Those intersections are terrible. They always back up. There's always accidents in them, and most of the traffic from this community would have to go that way because there's no left onto 291 from Hook Road. Eventually with the interchange, that might change, but as of now, most of the traffic is gonna go north on Ward to get to Kansas City or Lee Summit. Overall, I would just like to see a continued decrease in density, decrease the commercial area, because like I said, there's plenty around it, and also just have a little more, he said that we shouldn't put houses on that intersection of Hook and Ward. There are already houses on that intersection, and you're gonna put commercial across the street from them. So just keep an eye on the people who already live there. Thank you.
Thank you. Janet Garden. Just state your name and address for the record when you're ready.
Janet Garden, 2700 Southwest Ward Road. I think Zach basically touched base on just about everything I wanted to talk about. And I do appreciate that you guys have made some of the changes that you have. They are better, but I agree that we don't need that commercial on that corner. You go down south on Ward Road, you turn left, you turn right. There's a few restaurants, there's a gas station, there's the Quick Trip down there, there's churches up there. There's assisted living. We have all the apartments, townhomes, and homes right there on the corner of, I guess it's the southwest corner of Ward Road and 150. You head up north towards 3rd Street. You know, there's grocery stores there. We got a grocery store just on 150. We got Walmart. There's already a pediatrician just down from where this Legacy Ridge would be. There's veterinarian just around Hook on the road leading up towards just parallel of 291 heading towards the Walmart there. And I know when we were here last time, I don't remember who it was, but had expressed that really the reason you voted against it was because it wasn't a good fit. And I think we all know that eventually something is going to go on these properties around us. But it is such a lovely area. And I'm not opposed to having homes over there. I do think that there still needs to be some condensing in there, and the traffic is a concern. You know, listening to this and all the numbers and all the marketing and everything, I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to even get out on Ward Road. Because now when I pull out, I have to make a U-turn if I want to go north. So with, you know, the traffic from the school, everything else going in there, it just seems a lot. And then we're going to have restaurants and probably, you know, a Costco going up on 350 and 291. So there's plenty of commercial all around. We don't need any more commercial. I would feel better if they would put, you know, other homes backing up to Ward and Hook. If that's what's going to happen in there, I would feel so much better about having, you know, another home, or I don't know, coming up with something else other than just 13 acres of commercial. So those are just my thoughts, and I appreciate getting to speak. And, you know, we're not, you can't make any more land. So there's just, I know people that have said that when they come down that direction, you know, there's the high school and it's nice, and, you know, they dropped that property 30 feet to put that high school in there to make it more aligned with what was around there. Just ask for a little respective for the people that are living there and have built our lives in that community.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Right, do I have any additional questions from the commission that we need to bring forward?
Sure, Chair, if you don't mind.
Okay, Commissioner Benbrook.
Thank you. Quick question. We looked over the addition, well, I should say the expansion of Scherer Parkway, Scherer Road, and the connection. Do we know how the southward extension off of that new Scherer Road is going to align with this little stub up that we're showing here? Scherer, no, Parkway's to the left, Scherer Road's to the right. This is Parkway all the way down. Okay. One of the Scherers, the Scherer twins. Do we know how that works?
Yeah, if you give me one moment, I'll pull that up and we can take a look at it.
Yeah, that'd be great. I just want to see that before I.
There should be in that presentation, they should show it, so. And that was just a placeholder, by the way.
So the property in question for the application before you today is kind of right here, if you can see.
Okay. So we don't have quite an alignment with that south leg?
No.
Going into that? Okay.
No. So, and then again, you know, the intersection with the right-of-way is here, and this is just kind of a general area that we see the alignment going. So Scherer Road and the Scherer Parkway, this is not completely designed out. This is just kind of a what I'll describe as a bubble. We can see it going in this general vicinity. So, with regards to the application before us today, it's not in direct connection with that. So the realignment of Scherer wouldn't be impacted here.
Okay. If we go back to the presentation of the application, I've got some additional questions. If we go back to the site plan that showed the 3/4 access and the full access intersections, that would be great. There we go. Previously, when this came before us, we were talking about having to make U-turns to get into this neighborhood. Has that been alleviated?
I will defer that to the review planner and the traffic engineer.
Susan Berry, traffic engineer. No, we have not alleviated that. The reason that those are not full access is because they're too close to the intersection of Hook and Ward. So
Okay.
with.
So we have full access on the one that's shown south. That's full access, correct?
That's correct.
So
Yes.
where do we have the U-turn to enter this?
So this is a 3/4 access right here.
Uh-huh.
And
So
then
that's right in, right out, and
left in.
left in, okay?
Well, it's hard to see, but yeah, pretty sure it's left in. And then right in, right out up here by the commercial.
Okay, so do
Sorry.
we not have a required U-turn to get into this neighborhood anymore, I guess? Previously, there was and I'm going off of memory, but previously, you had to make a U-turn to then access this neighborhood.
So I think what you're remembering is those large lots on the west side of Ward will now have a median down Ward, and we'll have to make a right out and make a U-turn to go back north on Ward. I'm thinking
Okay.
that might be what you're remembering?
Probably.
Okay,
That sounds
so the
familiar.
reason that we don't have full access is our guidelines for signal spacing is 1/4 of a mile, 1320. And so that is why we don't have that 3/4 access. And Ward Road is considered a major arterial, and our access management calls for 660-foot spacing between full access. And I don't remember what that measures out at, but it wasn't 660. And then on Hook Road, that's a minor arterial, 400 feet is our spacing. And then in addition to that, we have the influence area of the intersection. And so think of where all your turn lanes are. You don't want access points because then your turn lanes are blocked or your access is blocked. It just, the intersection doesn't work when there's all those access points.
Okay, so for this neighborhood, if they need to go south, they're just gonna have to make their way down to, this road's not labeled, and hit the full access.
Correct.
Okay, and if they're going north, they have access all over.
That's correct.
And if they need to go east, they've got the main connector to get up to Hook, to go east, and west, you're coming out and you're finding a way through a field.
Yes. This is no different than a lot of neighboring cities that use medians to help alleviate traffic concerns. If you think about driving through Overland Park, there's medians everywhere. There's very limited places you can turn. The goal is to have everything interconnected so that you don't have to have a bunch of access points onto your main roads.
Thank you very much. That's all I had, Chair. Thank you.
Does the applicant care to respond to any public or commission questions, comments? We don't have any questions, it looks like. I think I have some comments, but, okay. So, hearing no further testimony, I will close the public hearing and reopen the regular meeting. Is there any commission discussion or comments on this application? Commissioner Benbrook.
I'll kick us off since I kicked us off last time. I appreciate the fact that our comments didn't go unrecognized, and I appreciate the addressing to the concerns of the neighbors. It is much less dense. It is, getting rid of the apartments is very nice. I didn't think they fit there last time, so seeing it come back with row homes or duplexes or quads is a lot better. As far as the commercial is concerned, I was concerned about it when we had the apartments. I still think it might be a little bit much, but I think the market has to dictate that, and the market will tell you whether you got too much commercial there or not. I do believe we have enough circulation traffic-wise to support it. I appreciate the effort. I know it takes a lot of work and a lot of man-hours to restructure things like that, so I do appreciate the effort to retool and to have discussions with the neighbors and to bring it back to us, so thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Okay, Commissioner Trzynski.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I would like to mirror Commissioner Benbrook's comments. I think this is a much better product. It does have more of a feel to the area. And I really like that you remove that gas station off the corner, because that's going to take a lot of that traffic away. And from the types of commercial businesses that you anticipate will go in there, I don't see a lot of the traffic demand that you need with a Chick-fil-A or a Starbucks, or a gas station, a QT or something like that. I think this will be much more mute. I think there's a lot of parking there for that kind of development, so we're gonna have to see how that works. But overall, I think it's a good development. I think there's going to be some changes in this whole area between Ward and 291 over the next 30 years, especially with all the development that comes in. And I think you'll see more of this type of product the closer you get to 291. I think it's a great transitionary piece that's going to come off of a really cool, I hope, entertainment area over there, right between 291, and then transition to this, then transition to your single family the further west you go. I think that's a great planning strategy. And I think our city does a great job with really thinking about that, making those hard choices. And I think this is a really good step. What I've liked to see in the single family on the south side be a little larger to match what's adjacent, just immediately adjacent to the south. Sure. Would that have been nice? Does it cost more? Yes. Does it fit a price point for this missing middle? Probably not. So there's a lot of ways that you have to weigh these, but I think this is a much better development, and I appreciate the developer really taking the time to listen and actually really to get with the public again. That's really important, and to have another meeting, because that you get a whole bunch of different alternatives, different ideas, and different things, but to really take it into the process and come back with something better. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Commissioner Jana Ford.
Thank you, Chair. I don't want to summarize what he said, but I will make sure to say that I do appreciate the rework and really respecting what the public and us and council had said and try to figure out how to make it fit where it is. Thank you.
Commissioner Grono.
I mirror what they said, but I want to take a minute to thank you for your presentation. The amount of time, energy, and the information and data that you collected to present to us was great. It was a really great opportunity for us to dig in, look at it, see what you were saying, see your thought process behind it so that we can make some educated decisions. Thank you.
Commissioner Frazier.
I agree. I'd just like to echo everything that was said beforehand. I'm data-driven, and so all of that information, I believe it was slide 7 that you presented, was absolutely fantastic, and it will enable me to make a better informed decision. Days on market, great. I think last time, I believe, I asked the question, what's the missing middle? What are active adults? And I like the fact that, you came back and you did address the reduced density. I mean, that was absolutely perfect. The other piece I just kind of want to comment on is, and I asked this before, what is it ag around what we've proposed today? And I think the answer was yes. So that is still going to be aesthetically pleasing, I'll say, to folks as well. The traffic is, I think we just have to continue to monitor and continue to watch that. As someone who had a son and had to pick him up on more than one occasion at that high school, in certain times of the day, it is just not manageable at all. Don't know how you can fix that, but other than moving the school, but it is, I think the traffic study and the new development or the traffic that's going to be going down at 291 and Hook will hopefully help alleviate that. But again, just wanted to thank you. Great presentation, great data that was presented, and we need options, and I think you presented that. There's been a lot of comment, about, apartments and that sort of thing, but I think you did come back with, however we define, again, multi-family, whether it's a duplex, a townhome, and also the fact that there are some that are rent, some that are owned. So appreciate all of that. The commercial aspect of it, I agree. A C-store probably would not be the right development there, but the types of stores that I think you presented or suggested, I'm thinking, nail salon or something along those lines. I know you can't specifically define that right now, but I think that'll work. There seems to be a lot of parking there. That may alleviate some of the traffic issues, but overall, I appreciate what you guys did. You put a lot of effort into it, so thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Yerington.
Yes, I'm sure Jake doesn't mind getting compliments. But thank you to Griffin Riley Property Group for listening to the residents, the community, their needs, their wants, and their vision. That's really important, and it's important to us as a commission, as everyone has said already. So I appreciate that. And the staff recognizes the rezoning is in alignment with the future land use as we discussed. It's consistent with the comp plan, infrastructure impacts, we're addressing that. And so I don't see an issue whatsoever with this, to rezone this from ag to RP1, RP4, and I'm glad that you are open to maybe a change to RP3 as well as the staff and the city. So I don't know how we're gonna narrate that or move that forward, but I have no problem with the RP1 to RP3 or 4, as well as the commercial CP2. So thank you very much.
I guess I could echo what I've already said, but I won't do that. I really like the fact that you went back and worked really hard on this and listened to the neighbors. I think it's so important when we have these meetings with the neighbors and just the whole, you're being a good neighbor yourself. And I know that there's concern with the neighbors with the commercial. I do see, I think there's a place by Culver's off of 50 Highway, and is that not Todd George? Is that Ranson? Thank you. There is not a lot of traffic in that area where you have the commercial there by Culver's and the tractor supply store. So I think the nice part about that will be that residents can actually walk to those places, and that's kind of nice on a nice day. If someone has an appointment there at a nail salon or whatever, they can walk. So I like that. I would say I will concur with Commissioner Yarrington. I'd like to see us reduce that zoning so that, like I said, well, first of all, the zoning is so important. It's one of the most important things we do, and it doesn't make a difference to you guys and your project. And if for some reason the project didn't go through, we aren't looking at an applicant coming to us with more apartments, because we've said that we really want to get that missing middle. And that's actually on page 162 of the Ignite plan, and I've studied a lot about it, and that was the recommendation when we did the Ignite plan. So I'm really happy to see you address the missing middle. So I would say if we don't have any more questions or comments, if we want to change that, do we do that after we close the public hearing, or do we do it now?
Yeah, you'll close the public hearing. Someone will entertain a motion at that point. If someone makes a motion to amend that to downzone it to RP3, that you can do that at that time.
Okay, and I think Hector mentioned that there's going to be additional modifications because of that?
There will be an additional modification that will be required, but I think we have enough guidance to, if you do choose to go with the RP3 between tonight and presenting to the city council, we can craft that language and present that at that time to them.
Okay. So, hearing no further testimony, I will close the public hearing and reopen the regular meeting. And I would entertain the motion and modification. And Mr. Benbrook.
Yes, I will read the motion. Chair, I move to recommend approval of application PL 2025079, rezoning from AG to RP1, RP4, and CP2, preliminary development plan, Legacy Ridge, 815 Southwood Hook Road, Griffin Riley Property Group, applicant, to the Planning Commission meeting of am I reading the right one? Yeah. The Planning Commission meeting of February 26, 2026, to allow for submittal and consideration of the revised application.
Were we going to look at that RP3, change it from RP4 to 4?
Yeah, but I have to read it, and then somebody has to.
Yes.
Second.
Okay.
So now at this point, someone can make a motion to amend that.
Chair, if I may, make a motion to recommend a revision. Do I have to read the whole thing and then with the added revision, or can I just like specify?
I would just make a motion to amend the present motion to reduce the RP4 to RP3.
I make a motion to recommend a modification to reduce the rezoning of RP4 to RP3, keeping all other rezoning the same.
I second.
Okay, so now we'll get a vote on the first motion and then the second after that. Is that correct?
You will vote on the second motion amending the first motion.
Okay, okay.
Ed Harrington,
Yes.
Sherry Frazier,
Yes.
Dana Arth,
Yes.
Jessica Grunow,
Yes.
Tanya Jonna Ford,
Yes.
Chip Tuzinski,
No.
Randy Benbrook.
Yes.
All right, so the motion with the modification has passed.
So now you will need to take action on the original motion as modified.
Okay, so we just take a vote on that one.
Correct.
Okay, so can we get a roll call vote on that one?
Ed Harrington,
Yes.
Sherry Frazier,
Yes.
Dana Arth,
Yes.
Jessica Grunow,
Yes.
Tanya Jonna Ford,
Yes.
Chip Tuzinski,
No.
Randy Benbrook.
Yes.
Okay, so that is passed, and we will move on, and we will thank the applicant once again, and we will move on to Roundtable. Do we have any?
Yeah, I just want to be careful when we go and decide to change zoning based on not liking it because of some other potential future reason that may or may not occur. Because all you're doing is adding more, what are they called? More modifications. So why don't we just call everything RP1 and then add 50 modifications to it to allow? And that to me is frustrating because if a development comes in and the staff recommends a certain zoning because of the way the development is, and then we just have to go and add more modifications to it just to get it to where we want it because we're afraid of something, then I don't think you're doing a disservice. I think you're doing a disservice to staff. So I think we need to be careful on that. And the reason I voted no wasn't because of the development, which I thought was great, but it was because we're changing zoning because we're afraid it's going to be apartments. When this developer came in and said they're going to develop this is what they want to do. So I think we just need to be careful, and I would be more than happy to hear a rebuttal on that. But I just think we need to be careful on making these kind of changes because I think we shouldn't be, I mean, we have to add already so many modifications to begin with. And so now we're just going to approve something else so we can add more modifications to it. So just make everything RP1 because that's really what you want, and then add a million modifications to it. I think that's what we're kind of get at. So
That's not, I would say, it was really about protecting us if this application didn't go through, because we've seen cases where we go with highest density, and then we've made a zoning change, and we can't go back on that unless somebody comes to rezone it to something else. But it's really about that. It's really not about the developer. It's about if for some reason the project doesn't go through, and experience has taught us that we have to be super careful about the zoning, the zoning changes we make.
yeah, but the developer brought the development to us with lots that were substandard size, which caused it to be an RP4. So that's the category that they brought it into. So if that's what we want, well, then we should tell the developer to make all the lot sizes equal to an RP3. We shouldn't allow just this kind of change because you're afraid it's going to be apartments down the road. Because that's really what this comes down to.
I wasn't afraid that it's supposed to come into apartments. I was being receptive to what the developer's saying, as well as the staff. They had zero problem changing it from RP4 to RP3. That's why I recommended, and I didn't have an issue with it. But it's not scared. I'm not scared to develop something that, because it's going to develop into, you need more land, right? So you couldn't probably produce a Category 3 apartment in that instance, correct, Shannon?
So
Because that kind of
Yeah.
defends
So in
the
the
RP4.
district, the application before us fit more neatly in that district with the fewer modifications. Can I make that, the subject application fit into RP3? Yes, I can. I just have to add a couple more modifications, so it's less clean in that sense. All development is tied to the approved preliminary development plan. So whether it was RP4 or RP3, if it's RP4 and this particular project does not come to fruition, any new development plan would have to come back before this body to seek new entitlement, because it would be, going from the RP, the structure type, the homes, the density here, to apartments would trigger what we would call a substantial change, and that would trigger a new PDP to be heard before the Planning Commission, City Council, with all public notices and mailings and notification requirements, so.
So that's where I'm coming from.
I hear what you're saying, yes.
So if that's the case, then it would come back to us anyway.
Right.
So, I just think we need to be careful. That's all I'm trying to say. The city, I believe, is they are trying to do the best thing for this community. And some may disagree with that. But again, now we had something come in, we're going to add a whole bunch of more modifications to it. So all I was offering up is something we should be concerned about, and we should think
Take
about.
caution for doing that, keep doing that in
Right.
future reference,
Right.
To
yes.
get clarity, when we get a PDP and that it stipulates in as rezoning, are you saying that the rezoning is tied directly to that PDP? Or is it like,
Development of that land is tied to the PDP, so the zoning will stay in place. So Commissioner Arth is correct.
Okay,
But the development of the land is tied to the PDP, so significant or substantial changes from that PDP would trigger a new requirement for a new application.
why is that? If a development doesn't fall through, like if it falls through, why is the remainder of the project the rezoning?
Yeah, so it's two different things. You got two different processes going on here. You got rezoning and then the preliminary development plan. So the rezoning just kind of rezones the property. It says, hey, this is the zoning district, and here's the development standards within that zoning district. The PDP, or the preliminary development plan, is what we look at to identify the actual development of that. So that's where we have our criteria of what is substantial and what is not substantial, or what is a substantial change and a minor change.
Is that kind of like a cart pulling the horse sometimes, though? Like
They're
accepting
very
rezoning?
intertwined, and they go hand in hand significantly, but there are triggers built into the UDO that protects against a bait and switch, if that's what you're asking.
Okay, thank you.
So I just have a couple, just a question / comment. Even if we're protecting for something that, I mean, let's be honest here, apartments are the trigger. And that's what's happening in 2026. 2030, it may be completely different. And so if we're saying we're trying to protect it from moving to apartments, then in 2030, we're going to want to, it's possible that we might want to flip it anyway, right, to change it. So to me, I think it's, unnecessary. I like to streamline a process. I don't like saying, here it is, but yet you have all these modifications that are attached to it. That's my thing. And to your second point, it's like, yeah.
Again, I don't mean to be rude, but that's what you all voted for. You voted to have more stipulations on something, and when you just said you wanted streamlined.
I know.
So that's where, I'm following you, and that's where I issue us caution, because I think there's enough safeguards in place that if something falls through and something else comes significantly different, it's going to come back to us anyway. I just offer, and I'm a passionate person, but I just offer us. I'm trying to offer us
Stick to a
care.
process, consistent process. I hear what you're saying.
Any more roundtable? All right, I'm going to adjourn this at, did you have one?
Yeah. Miss Tracy Allers, I was at the Lee Summit EDC meeting on Friday, and it was fantastic. And I don't know if anyone else saw you, but I wanted to give you a quick shout out. You not only made me laugh, but you brought me to tears, and it was so good. So thank you for representing us all so well.
I echo that. I was there as well. It was great.
Miss Albers brings me to tears, but,
In a different way.
It was a positive experience for me. I absolutely loved it. So kudos to
She
you.
is great and is absolutely a asset to the community, for sure.
Well, he's not here now. Jessica wanted to tell Jake, we thank you for your service,
You can
but he's
still
not
put it on the
here.
record, and it will be
Yes, okay.
immortalized in the.
Yes, we can
video
put that on the
for
record. Good idea, Commissioner
perpetuity.
Grono. All right, so I'm going to adjourn this at 7:43.